Welcome back to another episode of the Rollin' in My 5.0 podcast with Castle Customs and the Infamous Project. Ladies and gents, the guest that we have joining us this week pretty much needs no introduction because next to Vanilla Ice's Fox, I'm not sure if you could name a more famous car. We get to speak with Regan, the owner of TimeFox88. Regan shares with us the backstory of his both personally and professionally and tells us how he got tied up with this crazy car that is now world renowned. We get to talk to him about the Time Fox and how it came to be and or how it was one of the worst purchases that he has ever made. We get the current day story of where the car is at, including how it was a Hot Wheels finalist. We get deep on some topics as well that I think are really going to resonate with you guys. So join us for this in-depth conversation with the one and only TimeFox88. Okay, boys. Special guest in the house tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I have listened to this fella talk a little bit. It was some time ago now, but with the 5-0 Asylum boys. We got Mr. Time Fox, Regan, joining us on the podcast tonight, folks. So thanks for joining us, buddy. Really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Dude, I got so many questions for you. Like, on like so many different levels too. I mean, you have broken the internet with that car of yours. Well, cars, I should say, but there's the hatch is probably the one that's like been the home run over and over and over again. Where do you get the idea to make this wild ass like tribute to the 80s and 90s?
Oh man, it's a long story. I always say, where do you want to start? You know.
Well, let's start. I mean, hell, go as far back as you want. And actually, buddy, maybe before we do, here, let's just do this. Okay. This little pause feature, which I had no idea about until Chris told me just the other day. We're 4 years into this. I had no idea you could pause the recording. Anyway, little technical difficulties on the mic front here, folks. But yeah, I was just saying, like, where do you get the love for the cars, buddy? Maybe let's like go back as early as you can remember, and that'll help fill in some of the blanks for where this car is today.
Okay. Man, I guess I was not always a car guy or like a car kid. I mean, my dad had cool cars and stuff, but I talked to John and Tom about this for anybody that didn't listen or if you forgot that. But I used to stay at my grandparents' house a lot, and they lived kind of like in a house on a frontage road in like an industrial area. And right next to their house was like a tune shop, and I didn't know what that was when I was a kid. So there's really nothing to do, there. I just hung out in the yard. Well, they I don't even know if they had a dyno there, but they used to street tune. So that's like, I think that would have probably been early, that had to have been like 90, 92. And, so pretty much every time I go over there, I just sit in the front yard, like hang my arms on the fence. And these guys you'd hear them rev these cars up, and then they'd come around where I could see them, and they'd do street pulls all day, like every day, all day. So that was like my favorite pastime of just watching these cars. And I never knew what they really were, when I was like a little kid. And then as I grew up, I realized that they were all Foxbodys, and it was always the hatches. Yeah. So that kind of just got engraved in my brain where like that was, the ultimate, like everyone chased the Ferrari or the Porsche or whatever. And I was like, I gotta have that Fox body, So I think I picked up my first Fox when I was, I had to have been like 22 in college. I finagled enough money around to finally buy one, and then it was game over addiction, and I've owned infinite Fox bodies at this point.
Right.
So that's where the love came from.
It's funny that you explain it that way, because we get into these conversations with other folks surrounding like, at what point were you bit by the bug kind of thing? And there's all like, everybody's kind of got a little bit of a different angle to it, but it usually revolves around like sound or like something, one of those like 5 sensual kind of tangible things is what really grabs you. And What's really funny about this for me though is like there had to have been a couple of those guys that were working in that shop that seen this little whippersnapper leaning over the fence, kind of gawking. And I wonder if any of them ever think back on that moment and go like, I wonder if something really resonated with that kid that was going to stick with him for the rest of his life. Because, on your side of the fence, this is like monumental. You're literally forming like who you're going to be one day. And I wonder if these guys realized how much they were touching your life. They probably didn't, right? They probably just thought, oh, there's the kid again.
Yeah. I've never thought about that. That's wild. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Cause like me being a dad of 3, like, I don't know, I'm fairly heady when it comes to this stuff, but it's always in the back of my head. Like, is this that one time where I gave my kid shit that's going to stick out for the rest of their life? Or, is this that time that I told them I was proud of them that's really going to stick out? Because you don't know, right? It's not like we have a little LED light on our heads that goes like, okay, I'm recording. This is going to be in like the hard drive forever. And I don't know. Chris and I got on this big, long-winded chat last week about like how messed up the world is and our thoughts and theories surrounding like how it could maybe be a little bit better. And it's one of those things where like, if everyone's aware of just how potentially monumental you might be in someone else's life at a certain moment in time, like imagine how much differently you would conduct yourself, And this is really heavy for like something as silly as some boys out tuning a car, but it's, I don't know, when you think about it from that perspective, you're like, you got to be on your game all the time. Like, don't slip up, because they could have been out there throwing beer bottles at signs on the way by, and you go like, oh, so that's how men conduct themselves, right? And don't get me wrong, I've thrown a lot of beer bottles at signs, but I don't know. It's like, it's one of those things. Like, I don't know. For me, when I look at moments in time like that, I always wonder, like, I wonder if the other people realize how intensely, like, they made a difference in that person's life. It's pretty wild.
You just blew my mind on that.
Yeah.
I don't know how
it's funny because, like, I'd say probably the only real, I guess, industry or adult that would see that full circle would be like a teacher, right? Like a teacher that had an impact. Then you go back to the school or you go to a reunion or something. And me working in education, not as a teacher, but in administration, I did have a couple moments, like a couple years go by and, you get this random kid that comes in and, remembers. They'll be like, I know you don't remember. In some cases, I did remember them because they were like serious trouble or whatever it might have been. But generally speaking, right? Or, I want to say it's interesting too, because I feel like even through social media, some people, and Gary, I'm sure it's happened to you too, right? Like people come up to you and, kind of say, oh, you have no idea that, I was at such and such moment or whatever. I got it a lot with the stalker vert. A lot of people, because I've had that car so long, back in the forum days, that people are like, you and that car is what got me into Foxbodys. So,
right.
And it is pretty neat. Like, to your point, Gary, like it's kind of like you did a good deed or whatever. And, hopefully it's not something that, that we've done in passing, like you said, throwing a beer bottle and acting like an idiot and someone's carrying on that type of behavior or passion. But that's interesting. It'd be cool. It'd be really cool, like if there was a way to like assemble all those moments and like connect the dots and see who remembers, who doesn't remember.
Yeah. Well, like, okay, Regan, like imagine, I'm sure that maybe that shop's not even there anymore, right? Like who knows whatever happened to it.
Yeah.
But like, if it was anywhere near you conveniently, right? And you could like buzz by in the TimeFox and be like, hey boys, you probably don't recognize me, but I was that little punk leaning on the fence all those years ago. And I mean, I'm sure you would just hear wrenches dropping on the floor, right? Everyone be like, holy shit.
That would be wild. Wow. I've never put two and two together, but that's amazing. Like I didn't realize that just those little things kind of, trajectoried my entire life over that. That's weird.
Right. Wow. Anyway, sorry, don't want to get too deep too quick here, but we're coming in hot.
Now you
okay, buddy. So then you get bit by the bug and you get your first one in college. You scrounge enough up together to buy your first Fox. Back when they were like sub $10,000 cars, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Right. Okay. So then how do you go from there to like what you're doing with the TimeFox?
Oh man. I pre-apologize if I mumble a lot because I'm trying to write a life story for you. But no, I always said like, that was my dream car. I'll always have one. I'll find it. And I remember the day I was like 22, 23 in college. I accumulated the money, and the first one I looked at was like a black GT with a supercharger, and it was all done, and it was $6,500, and it was the cleanest car. And I'm like, well, that was a lot of money, that long ago.
Yeah,
and,
but looking at it today, right? Like for a blown 5.0, $6,500. You can't even get a blower for $6,500.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this car was like done right, and I had another friend in Fox's, and he's like, "Yeah, this is the car you want." And I ended up passing on that one, buying another one for like $4,500, and then that turned into immediately like I just bought this next one that I thought was a good deal, and then I ended up ordering like every part catalog from like CJ Pony Parts, way back in the day. And this has to be 2007 probably, so hot minute ago. So yeah, I kind of learned right away how to fix them, and then at that point in college, I was broke, so I had buried myself into car parts in this car that I didn't have the money for, So I immediately was like, I got to sell this thing. I can't afford to keep it. But then, so I sold that, and then I kind of through college got into flipping them essentially. So the same thing, I'd buy, a clean low mileage one for $1,500, $2,000, clean it up, replace the ashtray door,
Yeah.
And then, I put them on eBay, and I probably, I don't count those ones as the ones I owned, but, just sold a handful of them, made a couple $100 to get through college here and there. And then, it just stuck with me. And I don't know if it's like that for you guys, but, you get into a Fox body and you just feel like this is where I belong. Like I just feel good,
It's home.
And I'm not surrounded by a lot of, Fox body or even Ford friends. So, everyone's like, oh, we hate those cars. Why do you like that?
Right.
Like, I don't know, like, millions of dollars in the bank. Like, this is the car I buy, like this is my car. So I kind of just bought in and out of Fox bodies over time, had, a bunch of them. I remember my like pride and joy was like, 50,000 mile GT that he had never seen weather, the most perfect pristine car he had ever seen, bought from the original owner. And it was my pride and joy. And I remember going to like this work thing with my wife with these corporate people, and they've all got money in nice cars, and they're like, hey, you're a car guy. Like, I'm a car guy. I got a AIM3 and all Porsche and all this, and they're like, so if you had infinite money, like what would you buy? And I'm like, man, I own my dream car and it cost me $6,500. And they're like, what is it? I'm like, 1990 GT Mustang, blue and white two-tone. And they're like, what is that? And then they remember, they're like, oh, gross. And I'm like, they're like, no, infinite money. I'm like, no, it's in my garage right now. Like, I'll show you a picture. And I swear to you, this guy sipped his drink, went like that, and walked off. And I'm like,
really?
Yeah. I'll never forget that. But that kind of fueled my passion for like, that's kind of funny,
Do you think that guy remembers that conversation?
He probably wanted to forget me. That's probably for sure. But
you could probably track that guy down and be like, listen, man, like, you were a dick.
Yeah, probably. But long story short, I guess that's kind of my Fox body thing and how I got into it. And I just always owned one. And I don't know about you guys because you both have some of the cleanest cars of all time, but I have this weird thing about me that if something's super nice, like I don't want to touch it. Like I want to like hide it, keep it,
Yeah.
So that Fox I was talking about, that GT, that was just the most pristine car of all time. I never drove it, was scared to drive it, and it's out there forever. And I always wanted to drive it, but I didn't. Anyway, long story short, I sold that, and I had another collection of Foxes, and I just never wanted to. I always wanted to beat on one, like I always wanted to make it fast and don't care if it gets door dings. Throw a bunch of power at it, and I just had an addiction to buying nice ones. So about that time, I had collected all the super rare Foxes that I'll tell you, and you'll be like, "Wow, you're an idiot." But I had sold them all because I just couldn't find it in me to modify them. I don't know what that is. I just didn't want to ruin it. I don't know what it was, but so I sold right prior to COVID. I sold my collection, which was the '93 Teal Cobra. Yeah, I sold that for. I had some numbers written down once when I talked to Tom and those guys, but I sold that for like a hair over 10 grand.
Oh, really?
Next to that, I had a Calypso Coupe. I sold that for 4,500.
Just before COVID.
Yeah, like it was like a year. Yeah, and then I sold my 50,000 mile low mileage car for 9,500. And then I had a turbo 93 black on black GT, and I think I sold that for 10. So, and that was a lot because that was, it was a turbo and built trans and all this fancy stuff. So yeah, I pretty much cleared out the collection, and I was like, oh, this is a lot of money. Great. And then COVID happened, and I'm like, I'm the worst. What did I do? Yeah.
Oh, terrible timing, buddy. Holy shit.
Is the worst. And I left my way all to the bank, way to the bank. I'm like, I made $500 on that one, 200 on that one, whatever. Yeah, no, I'll never forget that one, ever.
Hey, bud, so real quick, were you selling them in anticipation for what the world may look like if COVID did what we were kind of thinking it was going to do? Because I got a story of, like, I started with secondhand pickup right before, or like just getting into COVID, because I'm like, holy shit. I mean, you couldn't even buy shit tickets at Costco. You know what I mean? Like the world was going haywire. And I was like, yeah, I think it might be a good time to like color up some cash and maybe throw it in the backyard in a pickle jar. Yep. So I'm wondering if you were going like with that angle, or it was just the timing, like, hey, I'm ready to get rid of these cars.
No, this was like prior to COVID coming about, so it was like not a thing. But I did do what you did, and I hosed my like extra cars, like my handful of cars. I don't know how I accumulate cars, probably like you guys do.
Yeah.
So I did do that, but it wasn't for the Foxes. No, and I did, sell everything for cheap. Like, I'll get rid of it real quick. The world's gonna tank. I need that money back.
Yeah. Like a person might need to like buy water in the near future. You know what I mean? Like, let's get some cash going here. Yeah.
Okay. So no, I didn't do it for that, but it was, like I said, that a year-ish. I'd have to look at some calendar dates, but it was prior to COVID that I cleared out my collection and was like, that's a bad idea.
Right. Yeah. Oh shit, buddy. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'll never find any of those cars for that kind of money,
No, you'd have to, get in the time machine / TimeFox, go back in time and redo it all.
Yeah, I did that. My low mileage car that was like my baby, the deep blue on the top, gray on the bottom, the baby blue stripe. I did sell that to a collector that had like 5 of that color already. And I actually reached out to him after COVID cleaned up. So that had been like probably 22. And I actually found his his phone number on my eBay account, and I text him. He was an older guy, and I'm like, hey, this is such and such. You don't remember me, but I sold you that car a couple years ago. And he was like, yeah, you know what? I put that in a single car garage, and I haven't opened the garage in all these years. And I'm like, no kidding. And I was wondering, would you sell it back to me? And the guy was like, you know what? I haven't started it since I sold it to you. And that had been like probably, a couple of years, 3 years at that point, maybe 4. I'm like, okay. And he's down in Houston, which is quite a drive for me. And I was waiting for the question because, that car at this time in 22 was, they were way hyped up. Like, 23, 25 for a 50,000 mile, like Barra Jackson car.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know what, how about you give me 2,500 more and I pay you and you can come get it. And I'm like, okay, deal. Like, great. So I actually randomly had a friend that was in Houston. I called him, and strangely, my friend literally lived like 2 miles from this older guy. He's like in his 70s. So my friend cruises over, and of course, like, the car hasn't been started in years, and old start, flat tires, and, they get it started after like a day of tinkering with it and it won't run. So pretty much he just parked it in the garage and kind of let it like not put a cover on it. So I let that pass, even though it was a great deal. But why, and this is where TimeFox came from, is my wife, I was like, you know what, I'm still going to go get it. I know how to fix it. I know it's just been sitting. And my wife was like, if you get it back, are you going to do what you want to do? 5-lug swap, wheels, coilovers, supercharge it, tire swap it, whatever. And I'm like, nope, I'll sit it in the garage. It's not going to move. Right. And she's like, okay, even if it's a good value to buy it at this, it's worth this. Don't buy it. And I'm like, you're probably right. So the next day I went out and bought like a Saline S281 off Marketplace. But anyway, that was just a kind of a project car I wanted to mess around with that I always wanted. But anyway, that's where TimeFox came from, is I always wanted to like build a car that I could just beat up and kind of make it to like what I call a Frankenstein car.
Yeah.
So, and I had already talked about this years prior when I even owned that car. Like, I just wish like I could buy like a Mustang, make it wide body, all black, Batman style, loud, just beat it up, like enjoy all the times that I didn't get to do cool burnouts and stuff,
Yeah.
So I always said I was going to build that someday, some crazy car. And then about that time, I'm an artist for a living. And so I drew out this like rendering of this like retro wide body, like big wing car. And I put it on a skateboard, actually, like a skateboard, like the cars on a skateboard that you hang on the wall. And I just hung it up. And so anyway, I always said like I would someday own a Frankenstein Fox body. And then one day I started scouring Marketplace, and we all three of us know the values over time of Foxes, where we're used to buying them for cheap. And so, it's been 2.5 years ago now. So cars that I wouldn't have paid like $300 for, are selling for $2,500, $4,000, just ones that are just wrecked, right?
Yeah.
So then I kind of got off the fence of like, okay, like I just can't like stomach paying a bunch of money for a car that like is worth $500 in my old mind, my college mind, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys know that. So anyway, I hung that one out for a while and just said like, someday I'll come back to it. Someday I'll find it. And then that's where kind of the idea came from, to have it, that skateboard's hanging on the wall. And my wife was looking for a fun car, and she was always talking about like importing an SUV for herself. And I also too, like kind of like all cars, even though I love Ford, I love Foxbodys, but I have a wide body 88 LS S10 as well.
Oh, cool.
Like a little short guy. Yeah. So, and that thing's like done. It's been like a 7-year project. But I did drive off the dealership lot in it when I was 3 years old, actually. So
no shit.
Yeah, like a family heirloom, type of thing. So anyway, that thing's done, and she's saying like, oh, I want a cool car to cruise to car shows with you with. And she's talking about importing some SUV from Japan or something that she's into. And we were looking, and we went to Sonic, actually. I don't know if you guys have those where you are. That is.
No, but I've been to them. Yeah. Drive in. Yeah. Order off your own window. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. So we go to this Sonic one night, and it's like, I don't know, Friday night, and it's right before Father's Day, actually. And we go through the drive-through, and the line stalls. So what do? I whip out my phone, and like this first car that pulls up is this matte black, ratty looking Foxbody. I don't know how it suggested that I should see this, but first thing that pops up, and I see in the engine bay it has a Barra in it, and I was like, oh, what is this? And I thought it was a 2J or something. I have no idea, and I had known a little bit about the Barra engine enough to know it's cool.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, I pull my phone out. It's right there. I click the price, and I'm like, dang, this is a good deal. It's like a state away, so it's probably 15-hour drive away. And I just lean over. I'm like, hey, I know you want like a JDM SUV, but what do you think about a Fox body with an imported motor? And she's like, that sounds cool. That's all she says is, that sounds cool. What do I do? I go, hey man, where can I send you a deposit? By the time I got home, which is like 3 miles, I had already paid the guy for the car.
It was done.
Yeah. And then she's like, what did you do? And I'm like, oh, I bought you a car. It's going to be great. And she had no idea. Right. So I get home, the wife and kids go do something. I go in the garage, I'm FaceTiming this guy. I'm all excited. And he's like, all right, man, we're loading it on the trailer right now. We're going to drive it to you. Yeah. So no kidding. This guy drives 17 hours overnight into Father's Day, and he's a father himself. But he shows up all this time later, and on the phone the car looked great, and it was perfect. And I promised this guy, I'm like, I'm not the kind of guy, if it gets here, if it's not in good shape, I'm not going to be like, sorry you drove it this way, see you later.
Yeah.
Well, it gets here, and it is, I couldn't have paid him to take it out of my driveway.
Really? It's that bad.
That bad. Like, you guys know Foxes, and when one's in like repairable shape? No. It was so bad. It was so bad that it didn't run. It was wrecked, missing panels, everything's dented. The interior was so bad that I'm talking like windows down, junkyard for 10 years status.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and I had paid a lot of money for it. A lot, actually.
Right.
And anyway, I made the deal. I couldn't. What am I going to do, right? Yeah. So I get it, and I put it in the driveway and say farewell to these guys. And she's like, oh, I got to see it. She comes out, and she yes, she looks at it, and she doesn't smile, she doesn't laugh, and she's like, man, nothing changes about you. And she walks back in the house. My kid comes out, I have a little son, and he does the same thing. He goes, why do you buy, what are you doing? Why do you buy these? And he did the same thing to me. So I'm sitting in my driveway. It's the middle of summer. It's really hot here, and this thing is wrecked. And I'm like, wow, I just spent a lot of money. This is the worst thing I've ever done. Right? The worst. So, and I had thought like, oh, this thing's cool. Like, we're going to get it. It's got a cool engine in it. We're going to paint it and all this stuff. And, I don't know, I'm sure we'll talk about that motor that's in that thing, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We're getting into that for sure.
Yeah. So, me, I don't know anything about that engine, and I've heard it was cool. And I didn't know they didn't come without turbos. I bought one that was NA. I didn't know. I thought it could have had a turbo on it,
Yeah.
I just was so excited that I just closed my eyes, And,
I can't help but bring this up because it's just running through my mind right now. I'm thinking of Chevy Chase Christmas Vacation when Russ, his kid, comes out, and he, Chevy Chase is trying to get the Christmas lights on. He's like, don't worry about it, Dad. You'll figure it out. That's your little boy consoling you, like, Dad, you just spent my college fund on this pile of shit. And you're gonna have to winch it into the garage.
You have no idea how accurate that is right now. The disappointment in their eyes, I'll never forget it, right? I'll never forget it. So, so it was like Father's Day. Remember that? So I felt ashamed. I had just spent a large chunk of money after going to Sonic drive-through, right? And I didn't know how I was going to like recoup out of this whole thing. And so pretty much Father's Day was that, like just laughing, like, wow, why would I do something so terrible, you know? But so anyway, that's where the car came from. And yeah, like I said, like it had like switches that would barely flip, and you know they'd use like those house crimpers that like you put for like electrical, you know, like
the wire nuts.
Wire nuts. Yeah, so it was wired together, and you know, it barely started, it barely ran, and I'm like, all right. Anyway, that's
probably why the guy put it on a trailer so fast and drove it over to you. He's like, man, I got an opportunity to get rid of this rat nest. Let's get her out of here.
Yes, like full. And you know this that thread that he posted he got blown up because everyone saw the same thing I did. And you know, that engine and that car already, and like I said, photos look good. But that's how it went. And anyway, so I was like, well, I gotta financially recover from this thing because it's definitely not what I thought it was going to be. So I ended up buying a car that like I swore that I wouldn't buy when I was like looking for those cheap Foxes, you know, because I would shy away from like a $3,000 Fox that I knew was fixable. But I didn't want to replace like full carpet and interior and door panels and all that, you know. Well, I ended up having to. So,
right. Dude, I think you shaped the universe. Like you willed this into your life, because I was going to bring this up earlier too, but that whole like not being able to mess around with something pristine. For me, I know where like that sort of thing comes from. I think it's like being raised in humble status, you know, like you didn't have a lot of nice stuff growing up. And therefore, when you get nice stuff, you're almost like so enthralled with it that you can't do anything with it, because you're just like, I may never have another thing like this ever again, so I'm not going to mess it up. I'm not going to, you know. But then I couldn't help but think about this analogy when you were explaining yourself there. But we guys like us are almost like girls that need fixer-upper guys, and then you know what I mean, like they love the disaster guy that they can try and like put on the right path or whatever. And so yeah, combination of like not having nice stuff growing up and then going like, okay, my brain just tells me I need to be in like the shitbox territory so I can fix it up. But then I'll probably fix it up so nice that I won't want to do anything else with it, and I won't want to drive the damn thing. Like it's a real messy mind space to be in.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly accurate too. Yep.
Okay. Hey, another quick little thing I just wanted you to try to fill in the blank here, buddy. You briefly touched on. I was going to ask you what you went to school for, but then you said you do something like artist related. So in what realm is that? I think this will probably round out the story as to how TimeFox comes to be too.
Oh, okay. So I guess back when I was a kid, I could always draw. That was always like a thing of mine since I was like a little kid. So I was always artistic, right brain, not left brain. I put myself through college, and I started out doing like IT computer work because, you know, I'd probably get a good job, would have got paid, but I don't have the left brain for it. So
right.
I dropped out, transferred to art school, graduated, did 4 years. And so I got into like graphic design and marketing. So immediately I started my own company, and I got into like branding and vehicle wrap design and stuff. And then I ended up grew into like, you know, over a decade or so, I grew into owning a print shop, and then, you know, mixing my car passion, that turned into, I worked a lot in racing, and then that turned into doing like graphic design for race cars, like liveries. And then it got into branding for teams. And then as I started to get to know teams in all different facets of motorsports and professional motorsports, I got invited to work on teams. So
Cool.
I have a pretty decent automotive background, again, from probably growing up with not much, so I had to learn to fix my own stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I did, I think 3 years I worked in Formula Drift, if you're familiar with that.
Oh yeah, very cool.
Yeah, so I did 3 years there, and then I transferred to Lucas Off-Road trophy trucks, like stadium trucks for Willwood. Yeah, so I got lucky enough to do some of that stuff, travel around, and then, yeah, so still an artist, and now I own a print shop that does marketing decals for like events and brands and stuff, like you throw in with your tools, or product when you sell it.
Yeah. Oh, very cool, buddy.
Yeah, so I do that, and then I work on like branding and marketing, like small and big companies for advertising right now. So
Yeah.
so that's where the art branding stuff comes from.
Sure. Well, no, and I kind of figured, because before we hit record, right, we were yakking back and forth, and I'm like, we see like whatever we are willing to put out there in our social media platforms. Most of the time, it's just a picture of your car in a certain set and setting and whatever, and everybody's left sort of wondering what the backstory is, or at least I am. That's how I'm wired, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, what makes this guy tick, and why did he go this route with this and that route with that and whatever. So I kind of always assumed that, and I know assuming is not a good thing to do, but like when you see that car of yours, it's like, okay, there's got to be something more. Like, this guy didn't just wake up one morning and go, this is what I'm gonna do. Like, there's got to be some ingredients that bake this cake, right? And this was kind of one of them I had wondered about.
Oh, that's cool, man. Well, I like your assumption. It was right.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. Okay. Sorry. Anyway, buddy, Father's Day hits. You're feeling ashamed on Father's Day, which is not a good thing to feel.
Yeah, so that's kind of how it spiraled, and so I immediately know, over my years of Foxbody stuff, that was early, like CJ pony parts. American Muscle was still big in those days, before they went to trucks or whatever they're at now. And I don't know, if you guys are, order from the same parts manufacturers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I guess. Well, Chris, being down in the States, probably uses more of them more than I do. I've had being up in Canada, I've had good luck with LMR. They can get shit to me quick.
Right. Yeah.
But I've had a couple things come out of CJ. It's been a few years now since I used American Muscle. I don't know. I mean, I guess you just kind of turn into a creature of habit too, right? You're like, where do I have an account that I can log into and look at my shopping cart and shit,
Yeah, and I think those times have flipped, because when I was, good into it, I think, CJ was top of the game, American was middle, LMR was, I think, just starting out, if I remember right. And then now that tables have flipped, where I don't know anybody that buys, from one, and then everybody loves LMR for sure. So, and that wasn't talking bad about the companies or anything. That was just status at that time. But I got a new order parts, so that car needed a lot of work, and I don't even know what I ordered that day or that weekend, but it was like just burned my bank account down pretty much. It needed everything. I'm talking like every part. And I think I did start with the interior. It was full, everything you could order. I don't even remember what I ordered, but it was pretty much gutted the interior. And I don't know how weather is for you guys, but I live in Oklahoma, and it's really hot here in the summer.
Right.
It's real bad. So then I had to battle that. So it's summer. I have this thing in the driveway. It's not able to move, so I got to get it out of the way. And anyway, so I just start ordering mass parts from everything I can put. And I knew the body kit that I have on there, the big wide fenders. I was kind of around in racing when that body kit came out for the car. My friend was like the prototype, like the guy that got to test the body kit or whatever. So I always said like, okay, that's what I'll buy when I build this Frankenstein car. So I just started ordering parts, and I kind of like dual tackled this project where I'm like, okay, I'm going to build this Frankenstein thing. The wife doesn't want it. I'm going to make it matte black, wide body, loud. Like, this thing's going to be this awesome Frankenstein car I always, dreamed of.
Yeah.
So kind of while I was doing that, and then again, it was car season. So that would have been like, Father's Day. I got a couple months to get this thing done. And, maybe by the end of the season, I'll have it out. So, I just, pretty much stripped the car, got it the whole interior and started there. My son came out to help me again. He'd get tired of my bad decisions. He'd leave me out there with my thoughts. So I was just tackling as much as I could. And, being a car guy, I'm sure you guys can relate, where you have a sack of bolts in the garage that you just keep for whatever reason,
Yep.
That's kind of how the car came to be, where it's just like, I'll fit this, do this. And then kind of through that, like, I took a look at that skateboard that I had drawn, and I'm like, man, like, I'm a huge, like, retro 90s, like, I'm a huge collector of that era. I've always lived in there. Like, I was using, for like my company logos or my designs, I always used pink and purple. And I feel like that was before the world, like, made that cool, like, it was cool, obviously, back in the day. But when I felt like I started using it in the early 2000s, people were like, wow, pink and purple car? No, man, like, that's like logos pink and purple. Like, what's this retro neon stuff, right? So I've always been stuck in the 90s. I've always had a monster collection of VHS tapes and,
Right.
all the cool old stuff. And so I was like, man, you know what? I should just theme this car around this, what I love. And there was a point in my, I guess not career, I guess you could say, like, my life, and I don't know how you guys feel, but like, there's a point in which I think anybody, like, wants to be not famous, but like, you want to be somebody, like, I want to be an influencer,
Yeah.
And I chased those dreams of, I did a lot of racing with, like, internet guys like 1320, if you're familiar with those guys.
Yeah.
So, like, I went out and I built a 1,000 horsepower Z06 Corvette, and I did the street racing and the half-mile time attack and the mile shootouts and all that stuff, And I had some pretty wild cars, I would say. Same thing. They got cool graphics, and I never caught any traction. And that's when I was, like, hunting the dream of, like, oh, I'm going to be big on YouTube or whatever,
Yeah.
So I went through that phase when I was younger and always wanted to, find clout or make friends or be cool on the internet, whatever. And it always failed. I'd travel the United States and race this 1,000 horsepower car in the street race, and it'd never make the video. And then I was sad about it. That stuff happened. I built a bunch of other cool cars through the time, and then just, it never popped off for me. And what's cool about that is it didn't work for me. So I lost that, like, desire to be cool, I guess.
Right.
So I started thinking, I'm like, man, you know what? Like, I'm building this car that's abnormal. I love everything retro, and nostalgia is, like, huge to me. And same thing when we talked about, like, the little kids. Like, I'm like, man, like, I wonder if I can influence people. So I kind of mixed, like, all this stuff together, and then my background for marketing. And I'm like, okay, I know how to market. I know how to make something look a certain way. I know how to make stuff work. I'm like, I'm going to hit the internet with this thing. And I want to make, like, not in, like, a bad way to say this, but, like, I want it to be huge, but not in, like, I want to be famous. Like, I want the car to just, like, make people feel a certain way,
Okay.
So that was kind of like a mix of, like, my 20 years of my career, my love for cars, my love for the retro stuff. So behind the scenes, I'm, like, sweating, like, every night after work, like, full weekends, like, crazy overtime in the garage, like, building this thing. And at the same time, like, I was on my computer and I'm designing, like, all my stripes, which they're kind of simple if you look at everything, but, like, I use so much of my, like, over-analyzed education to put it together. So, like, my little stripe on the side, I designed over 100 of those just to get it perfect, right? And then I'm like, I did so many different color combinations, a bunch that are like super cool, but then, you know, and then when I was a kid, I spent a lot of time at Taco Bell. Actually, strangely, my mom used to work there, so I used to sit and just have to sit there. I don't even know what I did for hours, you know. So yeah, I just got stuck in those 80s, and I've always used those colors. I love them, and that's what I said. It's like, I'll design it, use Taco Bell colors, use my rendering on the wall that was those colors, and build this, like, essentially what it was is, again, I've always had a fascination for Back to the Future, so I always wanted a DeLorean. Those were cool. In college, they were $60,000. Now they're 50. I'm not going to go buy one now, you know?
Yeah.
So I developed this like saying that, like, I want to build a car that is a time machine that's not a DeLorean. And yeah, so I just started mixing stuff together. And then as it started coming together, I was like, well, fit this with this. This doesn't fit here. I'm going to just bend this, cut this. And then I was, you know, molding the body kit to the GT body kit, and I'm adding splitters and cutting them and designing them. And then I'm like, well, what wing? So I think I ordered like 3 different spoilers off of like weird cars, like, I don't even know, like Acuras and all this. And then I was like, okay, Evo spoiler. That's exactly what I needed. You know, the front, I'm like, man, what bumper do I know that's this width? And then I'm like, E36 M3. So I ordered one. Doesn't fit at all, you know. So then what I do, I started chopping the frame up, and I'm like, this work. And I have some fabrication background, so it's not like I just chopped the frame off and laughed about it, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's kind of how the look came to be. And that skateboard I designed is like almost a direct replica of the car, but it just continued to kept coming together. So it took me about 3 months. I had about a month worth of planning the colors, the look, the name, and kind of how it was going to come together. And then, like, since I own a print shop, like, my car is actually a wrap. It's not paint. It's a pretty well done job. So it kind of tricks people sometimes. But like blue, it took me, I have over 8 hours in just color sampling to get like the perfect teal, you know? Like,
oh, cool.
Yeah, kind of like mixing paint, I guess, you know? So I just had to get it just right. And yeah, so 3 months later, I get it done. And then I didn't touch the engine. I forgot. So this whole time I'm like buried 3 months in the car build. I'm buried like a month into like this whole nostalgia idea and the colors and how it's going to look. But then I forgot that it might not even run after I get it done. Right?
He's all show and no go.
Yeah, and I don't even know. I haven't even opened the hood this whole time, right? And so I get it done, and it looks exactly how you see it now. And I start it, and it doesn't run. And then I'm like, great. So now I have to learn this whole new engine overnight, right?
Yeah.
And so I did, and I had to find where to get parts and who to get it from and what this engine even was or what it came out of. And then I found out quickly that the engine that I thought was like super popular is definitely not popular in the United States.
Right.
You can't get parts. No one knows how to fix it. No one knows nothing, right?
No, you need to call the boys that put the shrimps on the bobby.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I quickly learned that, you know, at the time that I put together, there was only like, you know, there's a lot of forums for those things, or like Facebook groups, no longer forum days, right?
Yeah.
but there was like, I think if I remember right, when I started this, there was like 10 guys in the US with a finished Barra car.
Jesus.
Like it was like nobody knew anything. But anyway, luckily I got plugged into one of those guys. Strangely lives in the town that I grew up in as a kid, and my like childhood best friend is somehow friends with this guy. So I had to shoe into this kid, and his name's Zach, and he's become a good friend of mine. But he actually was like the R&D king of Barras in the United States. So luckily he kind of coached me through what to do, how to fix it. And so anyway, the car looks cool. The interior is cool. And, you know, I was pretty proud of it. And yeah, same thing. My wife was like, wow, you really polished this thing, you know, like
Polished the old turd, yeah.
yeah, okay. Yeah, but yeah. So she did, you know, my kids, same thing, like, wow, I don't know how you pulled it off. Good job. Um, and then, yeah, you know, hit the world running. That's how it came to be. And then, you know, I started the Instagram. And the funny thing is, my wife is always saying, like, you know, like, post your progress, like, post this. And I don't know, my marketing background, I'm like, no, I'll try to video a lot of it, but I'm not a content creator. I just want to hit the internet and battle left field, you know, like, where did this thing come from?
Right.
And luckily for me, that's how it worked. You know, I got super lucky. We have a pretty decent cars and coffee meetup here where I live, and I heard about it. And, you know, I got in this car and I'm like, this thing's definitely not going to make 10 miles to this event, right? Like, I don't know how that's going to drive. It's not going to make it. And so, yeah, I just got super fortunate. I hit that event. I was like, you know, Jesus, take the wheel. Like, this thing barely drives down the road. And yeah, I hit the event and it was pretty popular. You know, I got home. I took a picture of it, posted it on my personal page, and you know, Foxbodys picked it up, shared the post, and it essentially went viral from day one.
Right.
You know, that,
dude, this is so cool because, like, I don't know, I always find it wild how our conversations tend to revolve around a theme, and it's really blown my mind that, you know, I was initially in our pod 9 minutes in or whatever, I'm going like, hey, you know, I wonder if those guys realized how much they touched your life. And then throughout this story that you're telling, you bring up like the Taco Bell thing, and like there's all this stuff revolving around, like, this is literally the conglomeration of like what now everybody sees online, which is this TimeFox thing. Like, anyway, I guess just like selfishly, I'm really happy that this story is playing out the way it is, because this was all of my curiosities are being answered. And I think it's so wild that your background and all these little things that have happened to you in life is literally what's made this car what it is. And then, sorry, you combine the fact that you ran down this road at one point in your life of like the 1320 deal and building a quick car and trying to get on their radar or whatever, right? And nothing's working. And like the underlying tone with all this, for me anyway, is it's like, you know, so many people give up when they're digging for gold being like 2 inches away from it. And, you know, it probably wasn't until, because like you think about all the shit you went through, that rat trap, getting kicked off the back of a flat deck trailer, going like, what have I done? Right. But then you just kind of revert back to like, okay, I've got a vision, you know, like I got this skateboard, whatever, let's just, whatever, 1 foot in front of the other and just keep mucking it out. And then you get it done, or kind of done, to a point where you can post a picture of it and boom, it hits. Like you hit gold, so to speak, right? Yeah. Like, this is wild, buddy. So cool.
And that's so I had moved from I'm originally from Colorado, if you're familiar with Colorado.
Yeah.
So I'm originally from there. So, you know, me tooling in the garage was awesome, because in Colorado, middle of summer, it starts to get cold at like 8 or 9 at night. You put your hoodie on and you just chill in the garage all night. So this was, I think, I moved here in the summer. So this was the following summer after I moved here, I think. And yeah, like I said, it's really hot here, and it gets hot about like 3 in the afternoon, and it doesn't cool off until like 6 in the morning, and it's hottest at like 8 or 9 at night. So those 3 months when I built that thing were so brutal. Like, I don't even know how I found the courage and the strength. Like, it'd be like 100, 110 in my garage at like midnight. And like, I remember like my garage is destroyed. Like, there's fiberglass everywhere. This thing is 8 different colors of spray paint. And I've got 8,000 parts. And I literally, in my hat, my shoes, and my underwear in the garage. And I'm hot, I'm sweating, and I'm just like whimpering inside. I'm like, why did I do this to myself? But like I just had to get it finished. So yeah, those 3 months were like wildly brutal, and it was there really wasn't a vision as far as like I don't know. I guess it was just like that. Like, man, I got to keep going. I literally can't give up financially. Like, my kid can't see me give up. My wife friended in me, so hey, what's new? No, I'm just joking. So yeah, it just worked out. And what's cool about what you said is where I had wanted to get famous, if you can say famous. And I don't even know why I chased that, because I realized that, like, hey, if I just show up with this car, I'll get famous. I really never did a good job at attempting to do like YouTube or whatever, Like I didn't put in the work. I just thought it worked for people. It didn't. So I lost that urge completely. So like even that first week was like huge for that thing going off like crazy and getting shared, and the followers just came in like wild. And that's kind of when like I realized like, okay, like this plan I had worked, right? But like the followers, it wasn't important to me, and not in like oh, I don't care about you guys. It's like I was so thankful and like super pumped, but I wasn't like, oh, this gonna get famous. This is exactly what I wanted.
Right.
So that's what it was. Hey Chris, can I throw you under the bus?
Yeah.
I gotta tell you the most sad thing though. Here, I gotta be honest. I've been a huge fan of you for so long, right? Like, you have no idea. You were like inspiration for crazy, because you've been around forever, So I'm a huge fan of yours, and I've been following you for so long through like all facets of social media. And I remember you commented on the first photo, and all you said was, "You're missing the door trim." And bro, I had posted that photo, and I had the door trim. It was already wrapped in my garage. I just hadn't stuck it on yet. And I'm like, man, this guy's like my idol. And that's the first thing he says to me, critiques me. No.
Hey.
No, you crushed my dreams.
Oh man,
Hey,
I thought I actually thought it was going to be a lot worse. But if you know me at all, if you have been following me along, because there was actually, this probably would have been not too long after, there was a gentleman who had, when like the Nardo Gray thing spread like wildfire, like everybody was spraying their shit. And there was this guy that was something, I forget what it was on Instagram, but he had this beautiful Nardo Gray GT. And like LXs, I can sort of understand the Nardo door molding thing a bit better, but the GT, it's just like, dude, there's something missing off your fucking door. And he didn't have the molding on the driver's side, but it was on the passenger side. And I forget what happened, like whether it came off or the prep or something like that. And so it was like this thing that we just kept going back and forth on. And then, of course, our good friend, Mr. War Admiral, has always been on this door molding, whatever, right? So it's always been this banter. So I probably saw your post, and I'm just like, God damn it, another one. Like, put the fucking door molding on, But
yeah, but see, look,
apology.
That's what we're talking about. Those little things you do, you don't know you could ruin someone's life.
It's so true, man.
I was so sad. You have no idea how sad I was about that.
Oh, well,
You got this kid looking over the fence at you, Chris.
Yeah.
Right? Doing the thing, and like finally you pay attention to him, and you break his heart.
I was like, this guy's the coolest Foxbodys on the internet. No one will ever top him, and I don't want to top him. I just want to hang out with the dude. And you crushed my
man. You had no troubles when I seen you at what was it, LMR Cruising, right?
Yeah, I traveled up. I really that day was kind of a blur. I really was hoping to talk to you again, and like again, I'm a huge fan of yours. And then I don't know, we just never linked up. But I was always like, man, he doesn't like me, he doesn't want to be friends.
You know what? The shows are the worst, and that was because I remember it was sort of like me, Brutal, and Caleb kind of in the corner, and like you would have been like literally straight across from me.
Yeah, because they pulled me right in the front.
Yeah. Yeah. You were the star of the show. And then, that's the problem too. Like, man, when you do, and I'm sure the amount of people that come up to you and want to talk to you about the car. And that was the first year I was actually selling merch and stuff, I think. And it was just nonstop. Like, you're lucky if you can go take a piss. So, but yeah, no, I remember I did manage to get away because it was on the scoot to make it to the restroom. And the first thing that caught my eye, obviously being a huge BMW guy, right? Like, I love the M3 bumper aspect of it. But yeah, no, super cool car, man. And like, I don't know if it's like, because I know where you're going with the whole famous thing, but I think it's like, you just want to be, it's almost like recognition. You know what I mean? And just like acknowledgement of like seeing how people can see what the effort and the time went into it. Like, even if it's not their cup of tea, it's sort of like, that's really cool. Like, I wouldn't necessarily build that, but I'm glad he did.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I say that because I'm sort of the same thing. Like, I don't have stuff that everybody likes. Well, Gary is in the coop with Body Kit Club too, right? So like, we deal with these battles every day, but like, when you get that person that like, really kind of like gets it or can acknowledge it, even though it's not their cup of tea,
Understands the vision.
or if you can convince someone different, because there's so many times where like, oh, I've seen your stuff online, but like in person, it's a completely different, it's like they never seen the car before, or it's like, oh, I was never sure about that, but now that I see it in person, oh my God, so no, man, you killed it with that car. It's I personally, I love the colors. Like, I love Harris Lou must absolutely love that car.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Did you have to like peel him away from like wanting to steal it, or what?
That's another sad story you can listen to of meet your idols and they'll crush your dreams.
Oh no.
But no, man, thanks for saying that. And it wasn't like, I was always scared. I'm like, man, he's never, you're famous in, all terms of foxes. So like, I'd never top what you do. So I was always like, man, he's just not going to like me because he thinks I got lucky or I tried to do something better, but I never did. Like, I'm still a huge fan of yours. I've tried to like and comment when I can. And, I still have my private pages that like are my personal pages that I comment on all your guys' stuff. So anyway, thanks for saying that, man. But yeah, you did crush my dreams. Just letting you know. It made me feel bad for a long time. And then secondly, when I saw you at LMR, we didn't get a chance. You crushed me again. I'm a huge fan. But I do want to say before we get too far about that car that is the sad part, is I didn't know it would get, like, I even hoped, I just like didn't think it would get to where it was. So luckily when I built that, like, I really wasn't like thinking in my like true mechanic car terms, like, okay, this is perfect, this has to be perfect. Like, I built it like literally like a backup plan, right? Backup plan with another backup plan with some strategy behind it. So like,
Wait,
the quality,
I got to stop you. So at any point was this to try and convince your wife to drive the car? Because wasn't it for her originally?
No. It ended up all being me because, like I said, she saw it and was like, I'm out.
All right, so she was done. It was wrote off. This wasn't trying to like, honey, I'm going to make it cool for you and you're going to love it.
No.
Okay.
I mean, at the beginning, I'm like, oh, I'll make it cool. You're going to want it when it's done. And it wasn't in a bad way. She wasn't like, oh, I don't want anything to do with it. But it kind of was, like I said, essentially it was for her in the beginning. So yeah, but it wasn't like, okay, here, I'm going to pick these colors for you. But she helped me with obviously everything. And just like you said, with your wife pushing you to do social, she was the one that pushed me to do the social and make it work. But the quality of the car, like I said, it's like, if I was to like ever, not that I would sell it, but like if I sold it, I wouldn't be disappointed. But I always do, that does worry me because it's like, I know good quality and I didn't really do any shortcuts. And I can tell you about how I built that car like 3 times at this point from when I did it that time. But it's not perfect. You get there, like, I filled some hail dents and there's still some left. Like, nothing's perfect anymore. But luckily, my vision worked out, and how I continued with the page was to just continue that, first impression, that nostalgia that I like want to bring, like unity to cars, where if someone sees it, they don't go like, oh, it's a Fox body, I hate those, or that's not a cool Fox. I just want people to like, oh, Taco Bell, oh, Blockbuster, like, oh, my Power Rangers when I was a kid. That's what that reminds me of,
It's the essence.
Yeah, so it become a theme, So like, luckily for me, I've met guys that build crazy cars for SEMA, and I used to work in SEMA again, so I know quality, and I haven't got a lot of critique on that. No one ever sees it and goes like, oh man, this isn't perfect. They're just they see past that. So that's like the recognition that I think I got, and I felt like I needed is accomplish the goal of, like, when you see it, you think of something else. You don't like start analyzing, like, oh, look at that Fox body part, this, that. Like, I would never do that to my Fox. Like, you just like you guys said, you think of something else.
Yeah, it's the essence. Yeah.
So quality, again, when you see it, yeah, it's not perfect, but I've never been called out on that. Strangely, if it was anything else, they'd be like, oh man, this is wrecked. Why'd you chop this? Do this wrong. Yeah,
because it's something totally different, right? Dude, okay, I'm gonna go back to playing Shrink again. I don't know why I want to play Shrink tonight, but like, I'm like really interested if you've taken the time to look back on any of this now, because again, going back to what you were saying about like the 1,000 horsepower vet, and chasing that whole thing, and almost. Actually, no, I don't want to give you any of my ideas as to where I think you went with this. But okay, so thinking about that and then paralleling it with the start to finish 110 degrees in your Ginch, trying to put this TimeFox idea together, right? And like post one and beyond, like this thing just takes on its own zip code, right? Like bang out of the gate. Have you sat down and looked at those two periods of time in your life and gone like, okay, what can I learn out of this? Because like the 1,000 horsepower vet had some fun, whatever, but like the end goal wasn't accomplished. Then you take the TimeFox story or saga, and like the end goal, which I mean was, it's almost like, if I'm hearing the story correctly, you almost didn't have an end goal, but it was morphing as you went through the process of it all, right? And then, you got yourself to a point by just literally putting one foot in front of the other, sweating your ass off, whatever else. And then it was kind of like you just stepped back from the car one day and went like, I think this is it, right? Versus, here's what I want. Like, you're almost so ultra focused on that end goal that you're like, the kid with the bag of candy, just shoving it in your mouth. You can't get enough of it, compared to, let's just put one foot in front of the other, right? Set the alarm, get up, do it over again tomorrow, whatever. And that goal that you almost didn't even know you were shooting for happened. Anyway, that's a long-winded way of kind of going like, have you thought about those two periods, and like, one didn't work out, but this one did, and like, has that affected you going forward in life even?
That's a good point, and that's very valid. And not even that car. I have another car. I don't think I posted it. I did something similar to a C5 Corvette because I was into drifting. So I built like a wide body. It was pink, and it was real retro themed. It was super rad. And I thought that one would get a lot of traction, but that like traction had started dying. But yeah, so I've done that a lot of times. So like what you're saying, like, oh, this is going to be famous, I'm going to do this. And I do it.
Right.
It should hit, and it doesn't work. And that disappointment slowly resonated to where I lost that back to that. And yeah, no, I guess I haven't thought, like, I'm super thankful. And like you said, I do that. The TimeFox has its own, I have a separated garage that's like all by itself.
Okay.
And that's where it lives. and sometimes I won't see it, and I'm like, okay, I'm short on content. I gotta go see her. I gotta go visit her. And I do walk in, and I don't know, that car's become like a child to me. Again, I even see it as not a car anymore. Like I just see it as like this, I don't know, like this unicorn, this thing, So when I walk in, it does to me what it does to everybody else when they see it for the first time. They're like, whoa, like that. I don't even know what it is, but it does something,
Yeah.
I don't know if that really is a question, but I haven't really thought about that. No.
Right. No, it's cool, man, because it's got me thinking. I think that's one of the best parts about these long form conversations, right? Is like everybody picks up different little nuances of the conversation, and this is just one for me. And it's great. Typically, I'm listening to someone else's podcast, right? So I don't get the opportunity to ask the questions that kind of come to mind. But it's made me think, because I mean, I think anybody out there that's ever had some sort of dream, whether it be big, small, or somewhere in the middle, like you're always trying to find the most optimal way of achieving whatever it is you're shooting for. And hearing the story about the TimeFox, it's so wild, because like that's not the typical path most people take, but I think you can overlay what you did with the TimeFox with like other success stories, because when you ask somebody like, how did you become successful? And I don't mean it in those terms for you, buddy. You know what I mean? It's weird when you think that way, but how did you become successful or whatever? And they're like, I don't really know. You know what I mean? Like it just kind of happened. And it's like, well, fuck, that doesn't tell me anything, right? Like I want to write down the 1 through 10 steps that you went through, and I'm going to repeat them, right? But most people have experiences with trying to do that 1 through 10 bullshit and never getting anywhere with it. And you're going, God damn it, I've been beating my head against the wall and I'm not getting anywhere. But I can't help but think that just that 1 foot in front of the other and being open and willing and, fluid through the process, and drawing upon previous experience is always a good one. You brought up the Taco Bell and the nostalgia 90s and everything else. I don't know, man. I don't know that even solves the problem of how to go from A to Z for someone, but I think it's just being open and like just showing up every day. You know what I mean? Like just get there and do the thing over and over and over again, versus, okay, here's how I'm going to do it. This is the end goal, and I'm going from here to there. And I think we almost try to like over analyze how we get there versus allowing it to come to us as we're going through the process. I don't know. Maybe this is really boring shit, but
that's so spot on. And you're 100% right. Every time I did that, it was a recipe. Like, okay, do this, take photos, put it out, go race at this race, get on the internet, it works. And it was always like that. Like, how'd you make this $1 million? If I do the same thing, it's going to work for me too, right? Mm-hmm. And this was exactly what you said. It was like ideas, and it just was like, man, I can't like not finish this because 1, I'm deep financially. 2, my family's disappointed. 3, I've got a project car now. It's taking up garage space. So it was just that. And then same thing, like the bumper, the C36 bumper is way off. Like it's not even gonna fit. And it's like, well, I got a gap here. What if I just do this? And then it was just a continuation. And those 3 months, like I said, were really brutal. Nothing compares to the second build that like took probably 5 years off my life.
Right.
I can tell you about that one next if you want, the second time I built it. But yeah, it was, man. It was just, I think you're right. Like if anybody needs to hear it, it's just like, it might take you longer, but yeah, you just have to just keep going. Even if there's no end goal. One bolt, 1 10-minute wrench turn every night is going to get you closer,
Yeah, it's true. And I mean, I guess it never hurts to have, a positive outlook or positive attitude. And I don't know, maybe, I don't know if you did have the timelines involved that, you know, it ended up working itself out through. Like, I don't know if you were like, okay, in 3 months, this thing's got to be done. But I think that just like, I don't know, you can apply it to like a workout schedule, right? If anyone's familiar with that, it's like, just show up. Like, even if you can't get off the toilet because your legs are fucked, right? It's like, just go and stretch that day. Like, still go to the gym because it's going to keep that momentum going. And you never know what happens on the way there. Maybe you meet the guy or gal of your dreams, you know, like whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I don't know. That was something I was picking up on in your story, and I wanted to really emphasize it.
No, that's good. And even you pointing this stuff out is super helpful as well. And then that weekend that I took it out to show it to the world, just, you know, I never wanted to leave the garage until it was done. I had thought that was the same day that Foxtoberfest was happening. So that had been 2 years ago. So I had thought about like figuring out how to trailer it to unveil it at Foxtoberfest. And then I, of course, decided to go to local Cars and Coffee, and how the world works out like that, it worked out, because if I happened to take it there, you know, butterfly effect, then, you know, the whole world could have been different, you know?
Totally, man. Could have fallen off the trailer. Like, you never know, right?
But yeah, you know, it was done. It ran, it sounded terrible. That motor is one of the worst sounding engines of all time.
Let's talk about the motor a little bit. Because yeah, you kind of had a crash course in these things, right?
Yeah.
So we're not gonna hold you as like the expert, but hell, you probably had like the school of hard knocks. You probably know way more than anybody else at this point.
Yeah.
There's all different versions of these, right? Like, it's almost like the LS's, LS 1, 2, 3, and then you've got NA ones.
In a way, you know, they're actually really simple. And funny is, I could try to keep this as short as I can. I can tell you the second time I built the car, and that's when I was forced to learn the engine.
Okay.
So, but no, I think there's, if I'm thinking right, there's two different versions. Mine is called an FG, and then there's the BF. And I think, you know, honestly, they're very similar, but like one has a front sump and a back sump. Like, it was just a generation change. It wasn't like, I can't tell you exact specifics, but the FG is the famous one.
Okay.
So what's really cool about those motors is, if you're familiar with like the 2J motor, right? Mm-hmm. You had the non-turbo and the turbo, and the turbo ones are the expensive ones, right? And people do convert the non-turbo to the turbo, but I don't know the terminology. It's kind of like the non-turbo one was never meant for power, right?
Okay.
If you know that. So with the Barra, what's pretty rad is their non-turbo one actually is a higher compression motor, because they put it in cars that need to have a lot of torque, where the turbo one, it's almost the exact same motor. They're literally identical. There's no big difference, other than like a few very small differences. So it's not like you buy the NA one and you turbo it and it's not as good as the better one. If you turbo the NA version, it's actually better than the turbo version.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're you know, from Australia, I guess. Over there, they still have the LS, but then they didn't get the Coyote, or they got the Barra. We got the Coyote.
Right.
So yeah, that motor is wild, and like I said, I drove it for, I'd have to look at time, but I think it was almost a year I had driven it with that, and I never liked to admit it. And when you saw it at LMR, like, they sound terrible. It probably had 200 horsepower. Like, it was a disaster. I wanted to get rid of it every step of the way.
Right, because that was one of my questions, buddy, is like, what's an NA, you know, dyno sheet for one of these things look like?
You know, it's very comparable to like the 4.6 two valve.
Okay.
So, you know, on a good day, they make, 200 wheel, cold air intake and a couple other underdrive pulleys, and you're making what, 215, 220 if you're lucky.
Okay. But they're a torque monster, right?
They are. Yeah. So like I said, taxi cabs, they put them in stuff that needs to lug at low speeds to haul stuff. That was what the NA was. Essentially, the NA was popular in like taxi cabs.
Okay.
So over there, like these motors I think they're worse than LS's over there because they have the LS, but like LS to us, it might even be worse because to those guys, you can go to the junkyard and buy one of these motors for like $100.
They're in everything.
They're cheap, and they're in everything. They're wicked cheap, and but for us to get one, it's a couple $1,000, and
right.
And then the same thing, if you find the guys that are looking for that motor, nobody wants the turbo one. No one wants that one. They just want the NA. Because that's the one to build, and you're going to put your own turbo kit on it anyway, so there's no reason to bring stock parts over when you're going to throw them away anyway.
Wild. Huh. How do you know how much difference in compression there is between the turbo OE one to the NA one?
If I'm thinking right, it's like 9-1 and 10-1.
Okay, so not a huge difference, but
yeah, it's there. It's not a whole lot. So essentially, the only components that need for those to make power when you do go bigger power is the springs, and then like oil pump gears. That's it. So
interesting.
You switch out the oil pump gears, and then you add some like Crocam springs is what I did, and then they'll take all the boost, and the power is insane. It's wild. I can tell you about how it got to that point where I had to learn about them.
Yeah, please do, buddy. Shit, I'm genuinely interested because I've got a little bit of a hankering for. I've got a bit of a Barra idea myself. So yeah, I'm all ears.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. Like I said, that thing was terrible for me to understand and no knowledge. And then the bad part is I didn't know a lot of this. Everybody in Australia is crazy nice, so nice. Like I literally have met every person from Australia. They love to talk to me, obviously, because they didn't get the Mustang, and we didn't get the Barra. So I'm like kind of filling both of their voids.
Right.
So people like even that are not even in their cars, we reach out and be like, "Hey man, I'm here, and if you ever need anything, I'll run to the parts store and get it and ship it to you."
Oh, dude, so cool.
Like not even car guys, right? So I found that really neat. But like over there, if you post on a forum and be like, "Hey, cars running and doing this," they're like, "I'll just go grab another throttle body, switch it out, it'll be fine. Check it." And I'm like, "No, we don't. Like, I got to ship one from the other side of the world, right?"
Yeah.
And it gets expensive. So troubleshooting was hard. When I finally got the car running, I was able to track down, luckily, 2 guys that import parts for those cars for the Barra. Strangely, out of all places, one guy's in the East Coast, one guy lives in the middle of nowhere, 2 hours from me. Well, about an hour and a half.
Okay.
So I got super lucky to have this guy that he doesn't have a running and driving car yet, I don't believe, but he's been importing parts. So luckily, I linked with him. I got some parts to get the car running. I linked up with that other friend that I told you in Wyoming that has had one in a drift car for a while, and he had a bunch of R&D, so he helped me figure out some parts and how to fix this thing. And I had tons of issues with it. And then for whatever reason, this thing was idling at like 2,000 RPM for the whole first year that I owned it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it was kind of cool because it would like sound cool-ish, and then it would like overfuel. So like if you blip the throttle, it like pop and backfire. So it kind of sounded cool, right? And
right.
But it wasn't. I knew it wasn't. It kind of sounded like a 350Z that's straight piped, like a beekeeper. And I was embarrassed. And that's where it was. The car had no power. It had all the looks, and as that grew, I got a little more embarrassed. I'm like, man, I gotta start tackling the motor next, because everyone wants to see a turbo. They think Barra, they want to see a turbo, right?
Yep.
So even at like that LMR show, he was talking about, everyone wanted to see under the hood, and I had not touched under the hood at that point. I had like wiped it down, but it was a disaster. Like,
Right. Wire nuts and all.
yeah, rusty header, like the harness to the car itself is cut and on the firewall. It was terrible. And I'm like, please take photos of this thing, So as that grew, I started to learn a little about the Barra, but that was pretty much just to fix it. And long story short, I found the idle issue, and it turns out that they don't have like an IAT sensor. They essentially just read like head temp. It's a cavity head temp, so it's kind of like that. I think that could have been the 4.6 in the 90s. The F100 had. No, what was the inline 6 in the 90s? That
the 300.
Yeah, was that it? The V6?
No, it was an inline. It was called the 300. I think it was called the I300 or some fucking thing. They put them in generators. They were in half-ton pickups. They were in everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So it turns out that these things share the same head temp, and it turns out that Australians will tell you this too, is that when you pull a Barra out, you break that sensor off every single time. And it's impossible to get to in a regular car they have, but in the Fox, it's like an inch. You have to get in there with a wrench. It's impossible to get to. So of course I checked, the sensor's broken off, and I went to the parts store, got one. And then all of a sudden the car idles normal.
Hey now.
Yeah, but now that it's not wrapped up and overfueling, and because what it was doing is it was essentially in limp mode, thinking that it was cold.
Right. So it's throwing fuel at it.
Yeah, and the timing, all that stuff. So then it sounded even worse because now it's at low RPM, and it is terrible. So,
what are you controlling it all with, buddy? Like, what's the ECU setup?
So at that time, when I got it, it had a swap, essentially a deleted harness from the car the motor came from.
Oh, okay. So you got whatever that car's computer was in your Fox.
Yeah, and it was deleted, and they had hid it under the wiper section. They just stuffed it into the thing and that was the other funny thing is this whole time I'm like, man, I haven't looked at anything mechanically about this car other than cosmetic. And I always wondered where like the ECU was, right? I'm like, maybe it's under the dash. I have no idea.
Yeah.
And after the car had sit outside through the summer, raining and all that stuff, I was like, well, man, I should find that ECU. Turns out it was in the cowl, been raining on it the whole time.
Unreal.
But yeah, it was really it was hacked together. But the next part of the story, got really cool at that time. Was the Hot Wheels thing. I don't know if you saw me posting about that or how that.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. I always wanted to do that, and I knew about it. My wife was like, "Hey, you should do this." And I'm like, "Man, okay. Like maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't." And so anyway, I had thought like up until that point that I was gonna pull the engine out and put something else in it, and I originally wanted to go to like an EcoBoost.
Oh yeah.
I knew I wanted to be different, but I didn't want to do a typical Coyote. They fit in there so tight. Everyone does it. Like it's a good recipe, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to go to an EcoBoost at that point, and luckily for me, again, how the stars aligned, I don't know. The first week that I had posted that car and I got some traction, Haltech reached out. And I'm a nobody, and the big guy over there from Australia said like, "Hey, I saw this car on the internet," and I'm like, "Yeah, I just posted it." And then they were like, "Hey, we know if you go turbo, like we'll pay for it all, or like we'll give you all the parts, right?" And
wow.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, okay. Like I've always been in racing, but I've never been a guy to ask for sponsorship. That's not like my jam. Like if I want to go racing, I'm just gonna pay for it, right? I'm gonna work hard to pay for it.
Yeah.
So that was early on, and I had touched base with him a couple of times as far as him like, hey man, you want some parts? And I'm like, no, I appreciate it though. I don't need any parts, thank you though.
Yeah.
So I had started talking about that, and then I was like, man, you know what? The United States, I'd found out that nobody knows that motor, and it's like an alien when you pop the hood. Everyone doesn't, even for like diehard Ford guys, they don't know what it is.
Right.
I can't count how many 60 to 75-year-old guys at car shows will literally walk up and be angry before they can turn around and like, no, it's not a 2J, it's not an import. Look, and then they're like,
got an oval.
What kind of Ford is this? And it's stamped right on the front,
Yeah.
So anyway, as this progressed, I'm getting ready to rip that engine out. I'm like, I just need rid of it. But I'm like, man, you know what? Maybe I can like help people create some content about like, how do you get a Barra? How do you put parts on it? What parts go on it?
Totally.
Yeah. So I had reached out to this company called Barra the World. And there's a guy there named Mez. And he essentially, his business is built there where he ships Barra parts internationally. And a lot of the people over there, the guys that are importing motors from here, they're just getting someone on their end to load pallets and bring them over. They don't care where they came from, what they're out of, right? So like Mez over there, he's a guy who owns a shop. He will go get a car, leak it down, test it, compression test it, make sure that if he ships someone a motor across the planet, that is a good motor,
And he's in Australia?
He is, yeah. So okay. He's got his business set up where it's straight up like you're ordering from LMR. You need anything, you go order it, boom, you're going to get it. No matter what it is, performance parts, engines used, new, built, whatever. So I reach out to him and I'm like, hey man, I got this plan. I want to go EcoBoost, but like if I was to put this Barra together, like would you be interested in like me promoting your company to help people with knowledge and a recipe essentially to get a Barra? And I didn't ask for anything for free, but he was like, yeah, I'm definitely on board. So I had reconsidered the financial investment of sticking with a Barra and having possible problems, or going EcoBoost and plug and play essentially with what they have out nowadays, as far as control packs and pedals and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I got them on board. I reached back out to Haltech because they had actually pressed me a little bit harder when I first started thinking about this. I don't know how that worked out, but I'm like, okay, if I can help Haltech with selling or promoting their product that works on a Barra, then I can get these parts from him and I can do some content about this. So at that time, that Hot Wheels thing got closer and closer, and my wife signed us up for it. And I think at the time I had posted it, I can't remember how many days. Man, I'm drawing a blank, but I think it was 5 weeks or 4 weeks. It was like 5 weeks that this plan hit. And I'm like, wow, I have 5 weeks to build this car and be to Texas with the car. So I like got all these people together, Haltech, and they said like, hey, we don't want to give you just the cool plug and play Barra stuff that like you just plug in the Barra starts, right? Yeah. They're like, no, we're going to give you top shelf parts. And I'm like, no, I don't need all that. And I don't want to build a custom wiring harness, And like, well, why would we want to promote our low dollar stuff, right? And I'm like, okay. And then I thought about it. So anyway, I let go of the EcoBoost, partnered with this guy, Mez, at Barra the World. And I gang ordered this huge recipe for disaster, like turbo kit, manifold, gaskets, all this stuff. I don't have no idea. And I buy that. I sign my life away with Haltech. They ship me parts. And I put the car in the air and I remove everything. Every drive, like all fuel, all electric, motor, trans, like everything's out of the car. The car's in the air. So I'm on like a reality show, but it's my own life.
Yeah, and you got 5 weeks to do this too.
Correct. And saying everyone's like, dude, you're not gonna do this. And, like not in a bad way. They're just like, you're crazy. Like, why are you doing this? I'm like, nah, I got this deadline. And so strip everything out, and then if you're not familiar, there's a company called Beachworks. They make injectors components. So luckily, they're actually in my town, so they're right up the street. And I got super fortunate. Well, at the same time, I'm doing work with a race car or a drift FT drift car that they're working with as a sponsor, and I'm getting logos from them to help this guy with these graphics. And then they find out that's my car. They want in on the deal because, again, we can add them to a recipe to be like, if you want a Barra, buy this, this, and this, right? So then they come on board to help me with some fuel, and then I just have parts coming from everywhere. And then, of course, I need a transmission. So it's like, okay, let me order a TKX. And then let me order this. And then I'm like infinitely learning about Barras, like from 0 to 100 while the car's like getting a million parts, and my mind's everywhere, right?
Right. And buddy, sorry, what transmission was in it at the time?
Okay, so you can take those things and you do a QuickTime bell housing, makes the adapter, and then you can go straight to a T5.
Okay.
The T5 is obviously a little weak when you hit that like 220 mark. I mean, they either break or they don't, right?
Right.
So that's what it was paired with when I bought it, but it was what is it, the 95, 96, the V6 trains? I can't remember the code. That's it's still a T5, but it's a little bit stronger.
Okay.
I don't remember. I learned that 95 or 96, I think. But it had one of those in it. I knew that as soon as I added power, it wouldn't hold it, so I ordered a TKX.
Okay, cool.
So, I got TKX coming. I've got fuel, and Beachworks is amazing. They just made me walk in, and they just load me up with a box. Like, here's infinite extra parts. And then I've got like this pallet coming from Australia, and I'm on the internet learning to like, how do I change, like oil pump gears? How do I take this thing apart? I have no idea what I'm doing.
Wild.
And yeah, the car is completely apart. And at that point, I like mentally, I was like, man, I don't even care if I make this deadline. Like, I'd be pumped not to go to the Hot Wheels show, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, parts come in, and my garage is a disaster. Like, it was way worse than before. Like, this time I was on a time limit, and this to me was a lot of stuff I know about, but like when you touch a bear, you've never seen one before,
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. So I'm like, I had to order a spring compressor to, not drop parts down in the engine. I had to overnight that. So I've got all these things. I got this motor part I've never seen. I'm cranking cam gears and chains, stuff's off, and I don't know what I'm doing, right?
Right.
and this was like even worse than before. This was every night, like all night. Like, I had to go to work, and I'll get up at 4 or 5. So I'm like in there at 1 a.m. Every weekend was like 18-hour days. And anyway, yeah, so I put it all together, like this whole thing. And I'm not a turbo guy. I'm typically like an LS or, V8 guy. So I don't know much about turbos. So I'm ordering parts, asking friends. And, Haul Tech is super helpful. Mez from Bear of the World's like super helpful. I have all these people that are helping, and this thing's like slowly coming together. And I've got parts at powder coaters. It's just a disaster, right? Like,
yeah.
And learn like, okay, what like starter did this thing have in it? Like, I didn't know how they built it, so then I had to decipher how they built it, how I'm gonna rebuild it. And it was just infinite. And then that was where like, okay, the power steering pump, I had replaced it like 4 times with the stock one. Well, what will work? This nice kid I have, Zach, he's like always R&D in his own stuff. And he's like, man, like, we should figure out how to put a GM Type 2 pump on there. And
right.
So he's over here like doing all this mad scientist research. And then by the time like this couple short weeks, he had figured out how to put a GM Type 2 pump on it, a pulley off of like a 98 Impala or something. and then it's like put an alternator off of a Crown Vic. So we're just like Frankensteining this whole dang car apart, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like down to the wire. Like, I don't know. I think I was like 2.5 weeks. And at that point, I'm like, I don't even care if I miss this deadline. Like, mentally, I'm checked out. Like, I'm getting old. I'm feeling it. But then, yeah, same thing. I'm like, man, if I just keep going, like I'll get closer and closer, right? And as it got closer, it got super close. I don't know if you've heard this story. I've told it a few times, but it just kept getting super close. And at the very end, like I had not had all the wiring done, and one of my best is my best friend, but he's also my business partner. He worked in race cars and built wiring harnesses. He's really, really the best, and he's always helped me with all my cars. Well, this one, he had already like kind of got out of the car game, and he's like, "Man, I'm not helping you with that. That one's way too hard." And I'm like, "Bro, I'll pay anybody right now to figure out how to wire this car, and no one knows, you know." And anyway, last minute, I think it was a week before the show, he was like, "All right, you know what? I can't let you do this. Like, I'm going to help." So we ordered all this stuff. He's building a harness, car's still in the air. I put all this stuff back together, and the story's getting long, but
No, I love it, buddy.
it's just getting so crazy where we're getting days out. And my wife's like, "We're leaving this week, or we're leaving this weekend, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know. The car's still in there, has no front clip. Like, nothing's done, right? Car's never been started." I had got the car put together. I think it was, man, I swear, like it just kept coming together piece by piece. We got off of work at like, it was like noon. I think it was a Friday. I can't remember the days. Noon. I took lunch. I went across town. I bought a car trailer because I had sold mine a couple of years back. I went and bought a car trailer, pulled it in my driveway. 3:00, my friend gets off of work. He comes over, plugs in the wiring harness that we just built. I realized that the Barra doesn't have coil packs. I guess that wasn't a thing. So I didn't learn through Haul Tech that to run a Barra with the stuff they sent me, that I also needed an ignition pack that controlled the coil packs. So it was down to this little coil pack thing, and I had called them, and I'm like, "Guys, like, you didn't tell me this thing needed like this piece built to run the ignition." They're like, "We thought you knew that, you know?"
Nope.
No. So I'm not kidding. So Haul Tech was like, "Listen, we're getting one shipped across the ocean. It's going to hit here, and we're going to overnight that thing to you." And I'm like, "Yeah, no way." No kidding. They got it done. It showed up 5 p.m. We get off of work. We come home. My buddy wires it in, and he's like, "All right, man, good luck." And I'm like, "Thanks. I'm leaving tonight. I'm leaving tonight for the show." And I don't know anything. The car's never started. So I'm putting it together, and I feel like the car's put together. It's like 10 p.m. I got to leave the next morning to hit the show. The car doesn't run. I don't know anything. So my Australian friends were like, "Yeah, we're going to remote in and tune it for you and get it started." And
and funny enough, this is probably where the time exchange between Australia and you worked perfectly, because you're in the middle of the night and they're first thing in the morning.
Oh, yeah. So it's middle of the night, and it's the weekend for them. And I'm begging my buddy to ask his buddy to like remote in and tune some guy he doesn't know. And he's got like lunch with his family, and it's not a big deal to him, but here I'm like on this like 5-week stretch. It's the end of my life type of situation. So he remotes in, and he turns out to be like the most amazing dude ever, Mitch, and he's a super awesome guy that I've seen on YouTube. And he's like, "Yeah, man, no problem." So he's remoting in at 12:30 at night, my time, where I'm supposed to leave in the morning, right? And he's like, "Control, delete, start it." And I'm like, "Started right up." And I'm like, "We did it." And he's, Control, Alt, deleting wirelessly, remotely. And then he's like, "All right, man, I'm going to go to the ocean or whatever. I'll see you later." I'm like, "Thanks."
Yeah.
So I hang up with my Australian friends. I take the car off the jack stands. And at this point, I would consider that like an entire, like a whole build, right? Like it was everything but the body and the rear axle at that point. And so I get it on the ground. It's like 1:32 in the morning, and I tried to pull it forward, and it was like, oh, the clutch didn't work. And then I don't remember what else, something else wouldn't work. And I'm like, it's just got to make it in this trailer, you know? And so then 2:30 in the morning hits, and my wife is like, okay, we're not going with you, but you can take our son if he wants to go with you. And so anyway, I back the trailer up. I get this thing barely, like, it starts running. Everything's fine. I get it in the trailer. I go inside. It's like 3:30 in the morning. I grab a shower, and my wife's like, you can't go to sleep. You have to leave at 4 o'clock to hit Texas. And I'm like, but I didn't tell you, I had pulled 2 all-nighters. So I didn't go to sleep the 2 nights before.
Good grief.
So yeah, you know, I'm an old dude, and I'm like, mentally checked out. Like, I just built this thing. And I remember, funnily, Lou, that was the week of the weekend of his event and the cool event over in the East Coast. And he was like, dude, Hot Wheels, nah, that's going to be boring. Like, come to my show. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm hitting this show because this was my benchmark. He's like, all right. So anyway, take a shower, grab my kid. I'm like, let's get in, dude. We go to Texas, and I haven't slept. I'm like worried that I'm going to crash, right? And I had to pull over at one point. I'm like, all right, buddy, I need 10-minute power nap.
Yeah.
So I hit this power nap, and I get back on the road, and we pull into Texas to the Hot Wheels show, which they do in the Walmart parking lot, you know. And we pull over into this Kohl's parking lot. I get the car out, it starts fine, and we get over there, and it was 18 minutes before the show closed. Like, they were closing the gates, and they're like, hard stop. No one's coming in at this time. So I was 3 cars to the end, 18 minutes to go. And we got through. The car ran fine. I pulled it up, parked wherever. And like, that was like the sense of like, wow, I literally pulled off like this crazy miracle that no one thought I could.
Wow.
Yeah, my kids pumped. And like, that's when like the TimeFox thing hit me. And I like sat on these shopping cart rails. And the car, you know, was getting some good attention. And I'm like, man, like, I don't even care if we win this, but like, that was like a life, like, peak, right, for me.
Totally.
Yeah, and I was super proud and like super pumped. And the show was actually huge. And that was like, I just couldn't do it. I was like really ready to go to sleep too.
Yeah.
And
on all fronts.
I didn't even know how this thing like made it off the trailer. Like, usually if you build something from scratch, like, something's wrong, you know?
Yeah.
And
unbelievable.
yeah, so yeah, anyway, time, you know, comes for them to say like the winner, and then like, man, like, I don't even want to win. Like, I'm just so excited to be here. I'm so glad we made this, man. I'm giving my kid a hug, and then I won.
Good grief, dude.
And yeah, like, you know, I'm not like a real emotional person, but, you know, I started to tear up. I'm like, no way, we won the show. And, you know, they made me get up there and give a speech in front of it. It was a big show, so it had to have been a couple thousand people, you know.
Wow, buddy. Unreal.
Yeah, so I had to give a speech. Then they let my kid give a speech, which was super cute. And then, you know, they like dog and pony showed you around, and everyone's following you, and they get your car and they go pull it in front of the sign, and they're doing videos, and people are just crowding around to like get your autograph and stuff.
What? Really?
Like, it's like this thing, like, it's like I won this huge thing, and yeah, people wanted pictures with us, and like, it was like I was famous, right? So it was super crazy, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe like this happened. Super pumped. You know, went to sleep in the truck, hauled it home. So like, it was pretty cool to see when I got back that like that was like a deadline I didn't think I'd ever hit. And I've done SEMA before, so like, I've hit those deadlines, but for some reason this one was like, you know, crazy on another level.
Yeah.
Like, kind of like a life accomplishment, not like, oh, I made it to SEMA and it was a lot of work and I got there, you know.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And then, you know, we rode that Hot Wheels train of winning the Texas thing. And then it came to like the next voting, which was like the global thing to go on the Jay Leno stuff.
Okay.
And so they had this time, and they're like, watch this show, and we're going to announce I think it was like the finalists or something. and we were sitting on a couch and watching that thing, and so they start announcing a couple cars, and I'm on there, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, I made it there. I'm on the show, like getting announced that I'm one of the global finalists, like that won for the year,
Yeah.
And then it stops like 2 cars after me, and I look at my wife. I'm like, hey, like, where's the rest of the car? She's like, no, you just won. Like, you just made global. And I'm like, whoa, no, they were just announcing the cars that won around the world. She's like, no, you made global top, the top 8.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm like, no. Then I like lost it. I'm like, no way. So yeah.
And buddy, this is I remember seeing it in your feed, like, where you kind of had like split screen video of the car, and then there's like people that are kind of giving their impressions or something on it.
Yeah.
That's that.
Yeah. So if the Hot Wheels Legends thing, they do like, I think 10 to 11 United States tours, but they do tours all of the whole world. And then the winners, I think there's 11 winners in the United States, and then there's all the other different countries, and then they loop them together, and then the judges pick like the top 8 that go into like the final battle, essentially.
Okay.
And then that's when like Jay Leno steps in and some celebrities and stuff,
Right.
Yeah. Then it made that show, so that was crazy that it made the global finals where like Jay Leno critiqued the car.
Right.
So I had to do this back end video of like an interview so I could send it to them, so like Jay Leno and all the other judges could watch it, like learn about me in the car.
Right.
So like that was an accomplishment. I'm like, man, I never thought it would get to this thing. And yeah, that was super cool.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And to think that all of this comes from this like bucket of bolts. It gets kicked off the back of a trailer.
Right. And then, the last minute, the 18 minutes before they closed it, how I made it, I don't know how I wanted to give up. I don't know how that just like the planet just worked,
Yeah. What a trip.
Yeah. So then it got there, and, I got lucky to, everyone else is, I'm not saying this in a bad way, because I got to meet all like the finalists, and they're all amazing guys. But, I felt like a lot of people that won that were in it to win it, And
okay.
I told you I had lost that. Like, I don't want to win. Like, just being there is amazing, right? So, like, I didn't even want to win. So I'm just pumped. Like, I was pumped that I lost, I'm like,
right.
That's cool. Jay Leno said that this car looks like a father and son project,
Right.
And so I was pumped about that. But I met Hot Wheels people, like Mattel people, from the bottom to the top, and I'm just making friends with the truck driver and everybody else. And I got to know all these people. So even though we didn't win, I still have it set up where like it still is a possibility to come to life, the dream,
Oh, really?
Yeah. So everyone else was pretty disappointed that they didn't win, and I didn't care. I just, I made some friends. I still have a meeting with them. Hot Wheels, the winner, was like a really good decision on their part to expand to a different country with their winner. So that was really cool.
Okay. Right. That's cool, buddy. So yeah, there is potentially a possibility the TimeFox could be infamous.
Yeah, it is. And I've actually got to talk to a couple other manufacturers like M2 and all those guys that make pretty cool Hot Wheels.
Cool.
I guess.
Oh, dude, that's super cool. I mean, especially, well, how old's your boy now?
He's 11 now.
Okay, so like this is right up his alley, right? Like he's just dad's Brad Pitt. You know what I mean? Like this is off shelf stuff.
That's the part I don't want to forget is the first go round. No, Dad was not the smart guy.
Right.
But that second time I built it, he actually was in the garage. That was like a very great 5 weeks. He actually helped me build it the second time.
Dude.
So So him getting out there to know that I had a deadline, whether he wanted to, and a lot of the times it was me out there at like 1 a.m. and he'd be sleeping in the driver's seat, and I'd be outside tooling around,
Oh, dude. And I said this earlier about you leaning on the fence watching the boys dyno, right?
It
Holy
was.
shit.
Yeah. So when we won it, that was, it's real emotional for me. Like, even though it's an accomplishment, it's not the best one, but it was big, and seeing him like give his own little speech to everyone and congratulate him on being there was pretty rad.
No kidding, dude. Wow.
But then I got to learn Barras. Essentially, I got it back. I put it on the dyno, and that thing made massive power, unlike anything I've ever seen.
Really?
That was a long story, but yeah, that car. It's hard to find tuners. Luckily for me, I'm close with this company here called BW Tuning. Been in haul tech stuff for about 20 years, and they took the chance bin to touch it. And yeah, that thing just right off the rip made wicked power. And I was like, okay, this is why these guys like these Barras. Okay.
Right.
And, we ended up tuning out a ton of torque. And I mean, that car makes, what does it make? I'm on an external gate, 3576. I think we tuned it down. It was making about 500 wheel and 650 foot-pounds of torque on 8 pounds of boost.
Wow.
Yeah, so we started tuning it down, and we walked out at 8.9 psi. It makes about 500 and 500 at the wheel. But if I wanted to pick that up in the 16, 17 psi range, that thing puts down like 700 wheel and almost 800 foot-pounds of torque.
Good grief.
So and it just wants more. Like it's wild.
No doubt. Hey, do you got any indication on like the history of that motor? Like, are the guts of it are good? Like, do you know how many miles are on it? Or
no, that's the funny thing is I know it's out of a 2011 Falcon, just by running the VIN on the original ECU. But funny you asked that, because that friend I told you about, my friend Zach, that's been drifting one of those for a hot minute. His motor has over 300,000 miles on it, and I think he lets it eat at like 650, 700 foot-pounds of torque with just all the rage and drifting, and it he'll chop the exhaust off and be like, nah, I'm gonna do an external dump and just take the downpipe off, turn the pipe up, take the hood off, doesn't even tune it and just lets it eat at full RPM, and it never does.
Can't kill it.
Can't. It's like a big tractor motor, essentially.
Right.
So, but it just makes wild power. And, nowadays, I remember, 500 horsepower at one point was king, and now it's not king. But we all know sitting here that, Foxbody at stock power will burn the tires off in fourth gear if you want to,
500 in a Fox is a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's wicked. So yeah, 265s at any gear. As soon as boost comes on, I could be at middle of third gear at 40, 50 miles an hour, and it'll blow the tires off. We'll just start rolling smoke down the street. So it's pretty rad.
Wow, buddy. That is so cool. Yeah, what a wild ride. Hey, so haul tech and everybody Barra the world, everybody's happy with the way this has gone. Is have you heard, or do you know, is it catching on at all, or is it still kind of a slow growing market for folks with Barras?
No, it is. And that was kind of my pitch on how I knew this would work on helping these companies, is because I would get messages on my page about hey, how do I get a Barra? And I'm like, get on this Facebook group, ask for this guy, and it'll work. And then I would see on the group that person went and got on the group, asked a question, and then I'd hear from the backside that oh, hey, that guy ordered a motor.
Cool.
So, it really did start to come together. I think it's been going better, but now that our recent tariff stuff, That's really
Oh shit. That didn't even cross my mind until just now. Right.
it's real bad too. So like, luckily for me, I ordered, and of course, like I was gonna pick up a spare motor just for backup from that friend, and then tariffs hit, and then I missed his last round. So now motors have went up like drastically, and actually just recently they cut off the United States to Australia.
Really?
Yeah. So that's a little disheartening because almost every part on the car now is something retrofitted out of something else other than essentially the motor itself.
Right.
All my sensors, everything, accessories are all United States based or US domestic cars. So if I have a problem, I'll be putting a different motor in it.
Gotcha. Okay, couple nerdy questions for you, buddy. Is the throttle cable driven, or is it a drive-by-wire throttle?
It's electric. Yeah.
Oh, it is. Okay. And K member. That's another head scratcher for me.
Stock K member. So the cool part, again, remember, because like a lot of countries didn't get the Fox body.
Right.
So awesomely is one of the and Australia is really, really tight knit, even though they're really big. They're like everybody's friends there, and even if you're on the top or the bottom, somehow they just know each other. So they're one of the big performance shops there. Their shop car is, I think, like 1,000 horsepower, imported Fox body.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so they already have all the parts R&D. So you can just literally buy the motor mounts to put on your stock K member.
Oh, beauty.
Yeah, it's done. So the only thing you have to do is you do have to put a 1/2-inch block spacer to space down the K member, and then the Barra fits.
So it's the Barra is a pretty tall motor then.
It is. When I got it out, I was like, this thing's a tractor motor. It's really skinny and really tall, and it's super long too.
Right. Okay. What's the oil pan configuration like? Is it dual like a 5 liter?
No, that would be it'd be a front cell. Yeah, front cell.
Okay.
That'd be a rear cell. It fits right in there.
It does, hey?
It's super close, but it fits right in.
Huh.
So all stock parts, essentially.
Right. Holy shit, eh?
But yeah, the Haltech stuff is pretty wild. I've been around some, big professional built cars, and I've never owned a Haltech myself. I've always had Hollies and the cheaper stuff that just works. But they of course link me up with like an R3 Nexus, which is got way too much gadgets, so it's got all this crazy stuff. E80, I can go E85, like fuel sensors, maps will change on button clicks. I can just cycle through whatever boost I want. I've got anti-lag, rolling anti-lag, all the good stuff,
Wild.
So yeah, boost by gear and digital display. So yeah, Haltech was really awesome. The sad part about Fame is, that doesn't bother me because I've actually told them this is, as soon as they inked that deal and took those products that I really didn't want, and they never talked to me again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, and I understand it. It's business. Like, hey, like this guy's getting traction. We want him to have our parts.
Right.
So I've actually, talked to them about that because I'll have reps that will reach out like, hey, man, you coming to SEMA? You doing this? And I'm like, yeah, you guys literally have never talked to me again. And they're like, oh, sorry about that.
Interesting. It's kind of funny you say that, Regan, because like, I think, at least this is my interpretation of it all, is like the shoe's usually on the other foot. I think where like, company ABC is going to send part XYZ out and they never hear from the guy they sent the part to or whatever. You know what I mean? Like they don't live, the receiver of the piece doesn't live up to their end of the bargain type thing. So for the company in this case to like not want to follow up and or maybe this is a shitty way of explaining it, but like milk the deal a bit, and like that's really interesting to me. Huh.
Yeah, and it's not like, I'm talking bad, because like I said, I did tell them this, because I've had so many reach out, and I've told them, like, hey guys, like I really wanted a mutual partnership, and at the end of the day, I said my move to go to Barra, which I'm thankful I did, did cost me, if you add up what I had to spend between a TKX, turbo kit, rotating kit, all the stuff to run a Barra, and then again tearing the Barra apart, I spent an exponential amount of money to be able to run the whole tech, where if not, we all know we could go buy an EcoBoost at the auction for $6,000 and pull the guts. I got an EcoBoost, or you can buy it on a pallet for $6,500.
Yeah.
So that was a big push to stay with Barra versus going with something else with the whole tech. And I was really hoping that they'd share, partner with me, but it was political. So I think that's what, if anybody's listening about, like, oh, I just want free parts, like, at the end of the day, like, sometimes it's not churched up,
Right.
It is, like, I inked a deal where if I sell the car, I owe them like a lot of money, within a time frame,
Interesting. Yeah, I've heard people talk about that stuff too, right? Where that was a topic recently. I think the 50 Asylum boys were talking about with somebody else. Fuck, I'm drawing blanks on like guests now that they've had, but they were I know Matt from NPD they had on, and they were talking about this. And it's interesting to hear how this is like a complete flip of the universe, where it's usually the vendor that is feeling a little bit hosed. Wild. And I mean, dude, it, like, I'm just getting to know you here during this conversation, but like, when you've got somebody like yourself that wants to, like, hey guys, like, let's go back and forth on this for a while here. I mean, I've got people reaching out to me and I want to pass them along to you, but now I've kind of got this weird taste on my mouth because I don't know that you're going to like help them or treat them good like you did when we first met, kind of thing. It's like, this is a little odd.
Right. Yeah. And that's, hopefully, some car people learn that, because at the end of the day, free parts, it's cool and all, but, I'd rather work for it, or if, I would like that to be like a mutual thing, especially with the, tens of thousands of dollars it costs to put that project together just to use.
Right.
That stuff's not cheap. So that changed the trajectory. And, there's a couple other partners that I work with through this too, that did help, like Reversion Raceworks. They make the dash inserts. I don't know if you guys have ever used them, but
no.
They do the 3D printed dashes so you can run digital displays. They make a lot of good parts. Stiflers, I always love those guys. I bought a lot of parts over the years, and they came in with me to help figure out, what mount and what spacer works if you were to go with a Barra. So, we kind of I did all the R&D to be like, okay, this is the spacer you need. This is the K-member, the trans mount, not K-member.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then, luckily with DeechWorks, they now know that this certain injector now fits the Barra, just like,
Right.
A bunch of money. So they did a lot of R&D, and a lot of the guys that were partners are not social savvy, so they're probably get annoyed that I tag them all the time.
Right.
I'm just trying to help, and I don't want anything for free, and the account gets bigger, and I just keep pushing. If you've noticed, I keep the same music, I keep the same style. I don't try to post what is cool or trending,
Right.
Try to stay off camera unless I'm trying to help get a partner or something. But just keep pushing that nostalgia and trying to, bring people together. And I didn't know, I wish there was more of me, because I met so many awesome people. Companies got opportunities, and I wish there was 10,000, or I guess at this point, a couple 100,000 of me, so I could be friends with every single person.
Yeah, totally.
That's the funny thing. I overlap. The last thing I want to say about this is that, so through this whole thing, from day one, I need help because this is so much work, but me and my wife, like, we're always next to each other when we do this, but we've answered every single message, comment, and reply from day one.
Right.
And it's almost projected 800,000 messages.
Really?
Every single reply message on all social platforms, we've replied to every single one.
Damn.
So
That's a staggering amount.
Yeah.
it is, and we have no unread, no notifications, and that is probably taking 4 to 6 hours a day, 7 days a week for the last 2 years now.
Wow, buddy.
So that is another huge part of engagement, is like, just if you guys want to know, like, if the secrets are, there is secrets of like building something that like has a, like an easier path to get to success, but
Right.
engagement with what I do for a career, that's huge, is that I try to make an impression on every single person, even if they say something negative, which is not very often unless you're on Facebook or the older crowd thing out. But that's huge, and then there's some familiar faces that I've been friends with, made some good connections for what I do for work and business and shows, but yeah, that reaching out to everyone, because like you said, back to the little kid thing, is you got to think like, I'm just a regular guy. I don't care if I have 100 and some thousand followers on this many on this. I don't care. But like, it gets sad to me when someone will send me a message and be like, you're probably not going to read this. And then I reply and
Right.
I'm like, no way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, like, I don't even have that many followers, but like, yeah, dude, like, how are you doing? Hope you have a great day. Like, what can I help you with?
Totally. The human element of it all, right?
Yeah, like I know that sucks when people are like, oh, you talk to me now. I'm busy, guys. I'm gonna talk, and I like love to sit there and meet people like that. But there's only so much of me,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
making those impressions, like I really hope that like they stick around and then they stick with it,
Yeah. No, 100%, buddy. I know. I think the human element of social media, when you can, I don't know, pay it back or pay it forward or whatever that looks like, is huge, because it's funny, right? Like, so much of the world that we live in right now is kind of based off of like sort of your class ranking in society can be based off of a following, which is really fucking weird for us old heads, and to your point, when someone gets a response from you or whatever, and they're like, oh my God, and you're like, oh no, like, listen, my life, I don't base my life off of this following or whatever, right? Like, I base my life off of like, how can we help each other? Do you need anything? How's your day? Like the human element that we were raised with, right? It's got nothing to do with this stupid following thing, right?
Right.
Yeah. That's super cool, man.
If it went away tomorrow, like, I would not think twice. I'd be like, that's fine. Like, I'd be a little sad because I wouldn't have like those interactions with, not that like I need that, but like more so like, they felt connected. They value that I'm like, I don't know. It's not like your idol or something. It's like, I would be sad if like that just got cut from them.
Totally. Yeah.
For me, that would make me sad, but I'd be like, good, I never have to turn this app on again. I'm out of here. See you later.
There's definitely that side to it. Hey.
Yeah, it gets pretty wild.
Yeah. I know what you mean though, man. And I mean, that's one of the neatest parts for me about social media is like, you could be talking to whatever the handle is. And I mean, that person could be halfway around the world. Right?
Yeah.
Like it really makes the world small. And it's, I don't know, there's neat things, but I think it's special for those of us that grew up without it. And now we have it. And we've got that like contrasting appreciation of it. It's a little scary for the new gen that's growing up with it. And you're like, whoa, right? Like, pump the brakes a little bit here. This can be dangerous. You don't want your world to revolve around it, or hell, within it. That's the even scarier part. You hear about people wanting to download their consciousness into the fucking metasphere. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, so, yeah, it is neat, man. And I think you mentioned how your posts kind of trend a certain way or whatever. I've heard people talk about that, is like everybody's trying to figure out the algorithm or whatever that looks like, right? But when you find something that works, and in your case, like you've got this car that just literally lives and breathes this essence that, like you said, touches people on a different level, so much so that they don't care that I know it's not, but the roof could be caved in, but that's not their focus, right? Like they're seeing right past that. And that car is literally taking them back in time, like to your whole idea of the DeLorean. You know what I mean? It's like this thing, the name couldn't be any better either. Like it literally just, you get that when you see one of your posts and that thing's just a real simple rolling shot, probably one of your kids hanging out of the window of your wife, right? And you got the right tune playing, you're just like, boom, like your mind literally goes back 30 years.
Right.
That's cool.
That was, like I said, the plan. And it, I love every time I hear it. When, like, I've heard so much, like he said, it's amazing learning about different countries. I've had conversations about everything, like the cost of food in different countries, wages and jobs, like all this crazy stuff. And, I've heard crazy stories like, like my dad had this car, and I love Foxes. He's not here. I wish he was here. This reminds me of him. Or like the infinite stories of like what the car reminded them of is like crazy powerful to me, like, yeah. The amount of times you guys I never knew this, I guess, until I built this car, is the amount of times I'd be rich if I got $1 for every time someone said, I hate Foxbodys, but I like this.
Yeah.
I was like, I never knew, nobody didn't like Foxbodys. I thought everybody loved them,
We were joking about this last week, saying how recently the two of us have got some comments where it's like, I hate a particular part about one, your car or whatever. Like, I hate the body kit, but that's a really nice car. It's like, I don't even know how to take this. It's kind of a shit sandwich, but all right, I'm with you, right?
Compliment, not compliment, but no, and that was my plan. So to see that when it comes together and it just reminds me of something else, then hey, job accomplished. Visual Time Machine is what I set out to build. And like I say, Unity, it's like, I like everything, it's got boards and shit, and a Jeep and all that stuff, and I don't care. Like, I just want to be friends and just make people think of, I don't know, their dad or their mom or their kids or the 80s or, whatever, just
simpler times. Yeah.
And that's the thing about nostalgia is like, maybe like back in the day when you think about it, like me as Taco Bell, like that probably was not a good time, like it's a weeknight, my mom's working, I'm sitting there, my butt hurts on those flat benches, like as you get older, like that's what nostalgia is, I guess, as you take yourself somewhere that like you think is better than where you're at now.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, the 90s, probably, honestly, they're probably terrible. I wasn't in my prime in my 90s, so I'm like, man, probably wasn't a good time, but maybe it was.
Right. Well, that's the gambler's fallacy, though, right? Is you forget about all the times you lost. You just remember those couple wins, and you're like, man, I really like gambling,
Right.
Yeah. Forget all the hangovers. You just remember the good times being drunk.
Definitely. Yeah. So, no, that's super rad.
Hey, buddy, you've been really gracious with your time. I don't want to keep you too much longer, but I would be absolutely amiss here if I didn't ask you about this coupe that's showing up in the background of some of your photos.
All right. So, and I'll stay on here as long as you need. I know you guys probably have a time limit. So I built that car specifically for one day to take myself back in time to an event, and it didn't live up to how it was supposed to in my mind, and I got rid of it already. I just haven't posted that.
Oh, okay.
So I just took a little break in the beginning of this year to build that car. I had found it kind of completed as a drift car, and I have a pass in drifting. I got out of it, a couple years back, and then I wanted to travel back home to drive with my friends at this big motorsports festival. So I was like, what better way than build a car that looks like my other car and trick people, right? Like, oh, about time the TimeFox is like burning the tires or something.
Yeah.
So I had bought the car, same story. It was kind of finished, pretty finished. I tore it apart, painted it, made it look like it, traveled there. And I don't know, that nostalgia never lived up to in my head. All my friends had moved on over the last 5 years, so it wasn't the same crowd. Like, everyone knew who I was as my other career that people know in the motorsports industry, like my art career. They don't know TimeFox. They don't know
Okay.
So anyway, yeah, I brought it back. I had a bunch of people that did come out to this motorsports event just to see it, and I ended up selling it. Actually, it was weekend before last. I posted it on a private group and took all the TimeFox stuff off and let it go already.
Okay. Interesting. Because it was kind of a twin, really. Like
it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not a notch with a GT body kit, but yeah, it was full cage, 2 front, 2 rear, standalone Holly. It was built really well, but I just built it for that one day and some content. And actually, why it backfired is because everybody thought, if you go look, everybody thought it was the same car.
Oh.
Even in person, people that come out there like, oh, I've always wanted to see this. This is why we came here. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, this one's real beat up, and it's a coupe. Like,
yeah,
they think it's the same. So I'm not like, oh man, you guys can't see. It's 2 different cars. So I thought like people would know, but they didn't.
Damn.
Interesting.
So,
I guess that's the perception though, right? Like, and maybe it goes back to the essence of like that TimeFox GT, which is like they're not even looking past that back window, right? Like their mind is somewhere completely different when they're seeing all this content. And the fact that this coupe shows up, which is nothing more than a twin with a different back window and a trunk lid, and they're like, here it is. Holy shit, man, that's kind of a mind fuck. Like,
yeah, and it's and it was, that one was like, maybe in pictures it looked okay, but that one was super haggard, like real bad. So then I was a little embarrassed. Or even like the picture or the video I did where I was driving inside, and people were like, about time you ripped it, but it doesn't sound the same. But I'm like, man, my one car is full brand new interior, and this car's with the cage, like
right.
And it's got harnesses and all, and race seats and stuff. So no one really got that. But that proves a point that I'd love to point out to you guys, because you're on social media, is if you start seeing my following and see how it's engaging and it's bigger, it proves a point that you guys, with your such nice cars and such niche group, like your car guys getting car guys to follow you, or mine is people that literally don't know the difference in 2 different cars.
Okay, interesting. Great.
Hatchback. One's wide body, one's got over fenders. It doesn't look anything the same other than the paint. So even if you check the comments, it's loaded with like, about time you did a burnout. I can't believe it's drifting. No one knows the difference, and that's cool to me because it still accomplishes my goal of helping everybody.
Right.
So if you back out car followers, I mean, maybe my following's no better than anybody else.
Wild. Huh. Right. We kind of, this sort of catches a nerve, eh, Chris? Like, not a nerve, but like touches on something that we've talked about recently, which is like, what is the, I keep using the word essence, but like, what is the essence of your following, right? Like, if you've got a following that just gets a kick out of, I don't know, something funny you've posted, right? Like, they're a whole genre of people. And then, like you say, you've got like the true blue diehard gearhead following. And then, I mean, hearing you say that, it kind of makes sense. Like you probably got like, I don't know, what, way more than we would, let's say, female to male following. Cause like you've probably resonated with a bunch of gals going like, I remember that song. I remember those like sunset nights, pink pinstripes. You know what I mean? Like they're just attracted to the idea of that nostalgic car.
Correct. That is, and when you say that, are you saying it like, I would love to know, like, if you want to be honest, like, would it be like, man, like we've done so much work and how's this guy getting this traction that we don't? Is that way?
I'm not saying it in that front, buddy.
No, I would love to know what though. Be cool.
No, 100%. Like I will say though, like I think anybody that looks at where TimeFox started to where TimeFox is and the following versus, but like if you do the fraction between like how many posts you've done to the following you've got, it's like, holy shit. Right. That's a fast growth curve, you know? And it's, I guess the more like I was kind of interested to talk about this stuff. I don't know if the listeners would give a shit much about it, but I'm ultimately attracted to the idea of trying to figure out how does the algorithm work, right? What catches and what doesn't. And I've just had like a couple, 3 base hits, let's say, that catch and go, but it seems like the TimeFox just hits home runs consistently.
It does, and I would think that for your followers being car guys, I would assume that they might want to know. I can tell you my outlook on the whole thing from professional and my experience.
Sure, buddy. I'd love to hear it.
So this whole venture has been, I don't want to say backhanded, but the credit I needed for my 20-year career is, like I said, I work in motorsports, right? So I design and help race car guys and sponsorships, and I'm real opinionated in the way that I have a lot of experience, not that I know it all or I claim to, but I've worked with so many guys in major motorsports, from Stadium Trucks, Rally America, like that Formula Drift, all these big like Baja Series, King of the Hammers, all this stuff, right? And usually people will hire me and they always say like, I'll have some guys that say, what do you think? You do you. I know you can get us where we need to go. And they're successful, but then I'll get hired by someone that sees that successful person and be like, I want that. But then they will drive the ship the whole time,
Right.
I know you're a good artist and marketer and this and that, and I'm going to hire you. But my wife wants to do this. I want to do this. I wanted this color. No, we don't like that. So it takes away, they always hire you for what you're known for, but they don't want to let you do what you know best, right? Yeah. Backhanded, this whole plan has come around where all the drivers, a ton that I've worked for, have came back and like, hey man, like, wow, how did you do that? And I'm like, it's the exact same way I told you how to do it that you never wanted to listen to.
But you let your wife run the shit. No, not just kidding. But I totally get it.
Or anyone, for that matter, because I've been preaching the same thing for years and years and years. And, people that listened, it works. And I'm not saying I'm right, but I just did what I preach and practice in my own professional career here, and it worked. And then those people are like, wow, I'm a professional race car driver. Like, this is my life. And I have, 11,000 followers and no engagement.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. So my analogy is, like, I had a plan, and the secret is obviously, like, at the end of the day, you have to have something that appeals to someone, right? Like, you can't just go buy a new Nissan Camry or a Toyota Camry and like post that you're going to go famous, right?
Right.
You have to have a plan or something that appeals to someone, or figure out how it appeals to someone. So if you analyze my page, I use the same videos. I use the same songs. I don't find what song is trending. I've even found songs that only shared on, like, have 3 reels, and each reel has 100. So usually you would think like, algorithm, don't pick a boring song, right?
Right.
Has nothing to do with it. Like, all of a sudden that song has my video with whatever 50, 100, 300,000 views.
Yeah.
So that's not a thing. It's just consistent. One, I built something that people want to see. Again, that was nostalgia, and luckily it was me. It wasn't like I built it to just like go out and sell something,
Right.
Like, it's what I believed in. It was my idea, my vision. So I'm not living like a lie to sell to someone, but it's engaging. I'm consistent. My videos are always the same. It's always in the same camera motion, right? It's always consistent. I don't trace a trend. I don't chase like a funny video. I don't overlay text that you think works, or some people will say it works. I'm just consistent in which it works, right?
Yeah.
So consistency is key. Finding what people want to see is key, right? Like, people want to see a burnout and you get engagement. I guess, unfortunately, your life is tough to do a burnout. People want to see that,
Right. Yeah.
So finding what's engaging, what people are going to like, sticking with that. Now, I was just looking on my phone, and man, you guys probably know him, and I know him too. And what is the guy's name? It's Puff, that does all the cool reels, and it's all fun.
Screen Puff.
I'm trying to remember how. Yeah, he's got all the cool foxes. So I've talked to him once about this, where he has good engagement, but he follows the trend of the comedy, right? And I love his reels. They're epic, right? Like, I love them, and he's got engagement from the funny aspect, right? His cars are sick for sure, but people are there for the laughs, not the cars, right? And they might be. His cars are awesome. So I always wondered, like, okay, like if I switched it up and just trend chase, like what would that do to me? I think it could either like blow the page up where I start posting like my 90s collection, of like stuff, like Game Boy, and I'm mixing that in. And then I might hit another demographic and it might blow up, but consistency has worked. So stay consistent in, what people want to do. Like, I follow a bunch of people on my personal pages that don't have much content. Like, I follow one guy, he's got, I think, 200,000 followers, 300, and he's got the same video of someone following him in his 69 Camaro, and he plays the same song, like a Pearl Jam song, and then puts like a sad text,
Yeah.
And it's short, it's sweet, it's engaging, and he just posts the same thing, and he just racks up millions of views.
Right.
So there's that, like the strategy of making sure that it's engaging. You're consistent, because if someone like is posting rap music one day and then Slipknot the next, and then death metal over here, and then this person like Katy Perry, it's just not engaging, Like, it's
Or loses the theme.
Yeah, if you ate at McDonald's, every other day, and one day they give you a burrito, but next week they got chips, and then it's a revolving menu. You'd be like, this is inconsistent. I'm done here. Like, I can't expect, right? So that, again, in business for me, like what I preach in like my branding business is like, you have to be consistent so that someone gets the same haircut every time you get your hair cut, because every time you go back to get a haircut, if it's different every time, you're like, I'm just gonna go to somebody else.
Yeah.
Consistency, right? There's that, and then there's a couple key tricks that like are tricks. It's just, I again stay consistent with how I make posts, and I can always share that with you. But my biggest analogy on social media, and I've done all the back end data, is, I don't want to say this on a podcast, but let's say you're getting paid, right? Like, if you work for someone, you're taking their shit, but your boss is outside the door, right?
Yeah.
You've got 30 seconds to take that shit because he's waiting for you to get back to work. And you pop open Instagram and you're scrolling, right?
Yeah.
Like, at any point, if you watch the video, if it gets remotely boring, they got 30 seconds. It's their shit time, right?
Right.
Swipe time. They got to go fast and they want to be engaged. But when it's something engaging, they'll engage the whole time if it's engaging. So you just have to make sure, like all those big clips you get, like you stay in the money all the time.
You.
Yeah. So every time you like analyze your video before you post it, is like, is this engaging? And man, I'll delete drafts all the time that are like, nah, there's this like really boring spot. And if you post that, you can go back and watch data that like, oh, the video just falls off at this second. And then you watch, you're like, wow, okay, because I started to like pan into the graphs at that point.
Right.
Right? Because they're like, video's done, I'm on to the next, you know? And then if you always end at like a cool spot, if you don't end in the graphs, if you end at the back tire, they want to watch it again, right?
Right.
Something. So that's engagement. I don't know if you've heard of the band Pantera, but you remember Pantera always used to say like, man, when we started this band, everybody had like a chorus and then like a money riff at some point in the song. So we started a band and the whole song is the money riff. So everybody loves it and it worked.
Right.
So
interesting. Dude, I'm going to, oh, that's unreal. Every time I'm going to post now, I'm going to think about someone taking a shit and going like, what am I going to keep? Are they going to keep watching me before they start wiping their ass, or are they locking their phone and moving on?
Right. So, I mean, do it while you're taking the shit. Just swipe through and be like, all right, that was boring. Not interested. Nope. Don't want to hear about this. Nope. And I will back check all this stuff and, notice like with like, holy crap, I posted about buy this fuel pump because it's amazing. It'll help you with your build. I'll lose $1,000.
Right.
So it's crazy. Like people are like, I didn't come here to see this,
Yeah.
So consistency for sure.
Okay. So building off of that, where does TimeFox go from here? And I'll maybe preface that by saying, I've thought long and hard about, the approach that a person wants to take with social media. And we just kind of, again, last week, Chris and I beat the shit out of this pretty good, but it's like, on one side of things, like when you kind of know what works, and as long as you repeat the same formula, like from a distance, looking at this from like, say, a 10,000 foot level, you're like, in theory, this should say grow my account if that's your end goal, right? But there's also the aspect of like, okay, I've engaged with a lot of people. I've created relationships that I consider like damn near as close to me as like, my buddy down the street, even though I've never shaken this person's hand. And I'm like, if all I post is like the same tune, the same saying, the same whatever, are they going like, where's the depth here, guy? Like, isn't there more to you? And now, buddy, this is not taking anything away from, yeah. So like, I'm ultimately curious, like now that TimeFox has kind of made its mark on the world, like, is it something that you just kind of maintain course with, or like, is there a portion of you that's maybe a little heartbroken, let's say, because you're like, well, shit, like you said, I got this whole room full of like 90s nostalgic stuff, and I think that could maybe morph into this page too, but it's so ultra focused on TimeFox that, God forbid you post that S10 that you got on there, right?
Yeah, it would die for sure.
Right. And so you're kind of like, I don't know, like before we started record, or maybe I did say this when we were recording. Anyway, I was bringing up like that 92 LX50 page I got, which is just all this green car. And I was like, well, shit, I'm into like all this other stuff too, right? And that was kind of where this whole Castle Customs idea came from. It's like, well, let's just get generic so it can kind of factor in all these other interests of mine, right? So yeah, like where do you go with TimeFox, or what's your plan for it?
That's a good question. And just so you know, like that analogy is all based on different platforms, right? Like, so if I told a client of mine that wanted to grow a social business, like Instagram is strictly for what people want to see, right? Like they just want to see pretty things. Facebook, people want to talk about stuff and give their opinion, in my opinion. TikTok is where you go to explain stuff, right? YouTube is where you go to tell a story or tell someone how to do something, right? So you have different, like, and my analogy on that was simply Instagram, right? So my TikTok account, like, it doesn't do crazy good, but like I also know that I just cross post. I don't give people what they need to see on TikTok, which is an elaborate story. So I would put the pretty picture of the slow motion and the cool music on Instagram if I was in for engagement, right? I would go to TikTok and I would wipe my hand around first person camera and be like, check this out. Like, look at this thing. This comes on this car. This is how I'm going to change this. Let me show you how to open the hood. And then like show someone something that's engaging. And I kind of see that with what people post and their reactions. Because yeah, man, on Facebook, I don't get any hate, but on Facebook, it's 100 old. I'm talking when I say old, I'm just saying like 70, 80-year-old guys like lad chap crap piece of junk, and I'm like, okay, that's not appropriate. But thanks though, thanks Tim. Yeah, you know, yeah. You have a good day, or whoever it is, whatever. So there is a different platform for everything, and just know that each one is for a different purpose. And if you have the time to post on all those, good luck. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't want this as a career. I do have friends that their career is social media, meaning they make like serious big boy money and have serious followers. And I don't get any like feedback from them. I don't even talk about that, but I've watched how rough that is and how much work that is, and that's not easy,
No.
Like, that's serious work when you got a team of photographers and video editors and stuff. That's no joke.
Yeah. But well, we just touched on that the other day too, which like the switch nature of like how quickly your business can disappear if the AI thinks that, like Chris was saying on his Detch page, is it on TikTok, buddy, where they shut you down every time they say it's some like hate crime?
Yeah,
Detch is a bad word, and it's
some political thing, ploy and whatever. And yeah, Gary's in his Facebook jail for trying to circumvent the system over there. And it's just like, I don't know, I get it, but like to your point, it's like I remember, I don't know, like 8 years ago, because the Infamous project's very generic because there's so many different cars. I'm a Beamer guy. I had when I really got on Instagram, I was posting my bikes, my Ferrari, my Viper truck, there was no consistency whatsoever. And I was in the Middle East. And, I was just like, just for fun, I'll just only do my silver notch, a page for it, like, Detch Coupe. And I got like 2,000 followers, like almost so quickly with like way less effort, but it was consistent. And I'm like, I'm not cut out for that. Like, I'm not going to create a page for every single one of my cars. And then, it's just sort of how you mentioned that qualitative audience versus quantitative. So, it just I just left it as it is what it is. Cause like, I can't, man, to sit there and like, I know you have all these stuff, but like, it's almost like, dude, I'll pay you to do it. But I'm not doing it. But and to your point, like social media for me, like when I'm talking Instagram or Facebook, I'd give you the keys and just say, hey, run with it. I tried an editor for YouTube. I think he maybe did 3 videos for me. And I was like, nope. I was that husband and wife that's like, I need way too much production input, or I need to make sure that my character and my style is reflected and represented properly. And it was like, I don't care how many subs I gain or I lose as a result of it. Like, and not to say that I couldn't train him, but he was overseas and everything like that. So I can kind of appreciate the different angles and the businesses and like those those challenges that you would get working with clients of, it's like, yeah, I can double if you just hands off, but it's like, no. Just
lose the flavor that you're looking for.
Yeah.
And nobody has time for this stuff. Is there really a payoff? Is that constant outreach is again waving at that little kid driving down the street. Those guys never, I don't remember him waving at me, but if they did, that would set a whole nother bar.
Well, so they waved at you peeling away. It was through the sound of the exhaust.
Right. Yeah. So that, maybe that has something to do with it, is that every single person that takes time, I respond back. That's that impression of like, whoa, this is like a real dude. Like, and then they like his stuff.
But Gary's really good about that. Gary's a responder big time. I don't know how he did. Probably when he's sitting at those hockey games.
That's huge. No, that's super good.
Buddy, like you, I enjoy it for sure. It's, to me, I look at it like, hey, you know what? If somebody's going to take enough time out of their day to hit me with something, then it's my responsibility to hit them back. And some of these folks, like I say, you start establishing a relationship with them, even though you don't even know their real name, you just know their handle. Right. But I also know what you mean about and this is hard to say without sounding like a yutz, but like, I also know like when you have that goal in your mind of doing that, and then you're like, oh shit, I haven't done this in a couple of days, I got to sit down and do it. It's a lot, right? But again, I just one foot in front of the other, like we were saying earlier, right? I'm like, hey, I told myself, and I know what it's like to like send somebody a message and not hear back or whatever, right? So, I don't know. It's just in my bones. It's got to happen, right? But yeah, Chris has brought up a good point. Like if a person was ever some, real big deal, Cletus McFarland, like, unless you got a team, like a call center that's responding to stuff in the essence of him, I don't know how you're doing it. There's no way.
Right. And that's what I've learned through friends that have spent, decades building pages, and they have substantial followers. At the end of the day, they're like, man, I just found a way to monetize this, and I'm making more substantial income doing this monetizing through this certain way than I am on post engagement. So they've like given that all up and just switched gears. So monetizing is good, and it doesn't mean it's a profit grab. Like, hey man, I'm going to help you build this Barra. I'll sell you this complete recipe for $50. It just saves you 100 hours of research.
Yeah,
not in a bad way. You can still help people, but I sell shirts and stuff because I do shirts for a living. I don't really honestly make any money. I haven't got paid. Like if everyone thinks you make a bunch of money, I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can show you how to burn 50 or 60 grand to make about $8 back.
Yeah. So I think I feel like we missed something to like just kind of circling back to, you did touch on it, but we moved past it quite quickly, is like for you and your business and the idea of, selling your services from an artistic standpoint and a marketing and a media standpoint. I think it's quite neat that, if you're ever in one of these, say, first or second meetings where you're trying to get a client and they're questioning or maybe pushing back, going like, yeah, we want you to be our guy, but we don't want pink and we don't want purple or whatever, right? It's like, well, I can show you right here what that looks like if you follow my recipe, right? And so from that standpoint, like what a great sales tool the TimeFox is, right?
It has helped, honestly. I've landed clients with at least when they have those questions, I can reference that. So yeah, it does that. It has to get on your other question and then answer another one about this is through this venture, like my mind is always blown on who I get to talk to, whether it's just a regular person or famous people. I've met so many rad people that I'm like right, you guys, like I'm so pumped. You have no idea. Like I was a prior fan, before this TimeFox thing, but I've met movie stars, talk to like people I'm like, no way, I'd never be talking to this guy right now.
Yeah.
That's mind blowing. Like my kid, is like a diehard. I don't know if you guys were Cobra Kai, the new show, but Karate Kid old school.
Yeah.
So like, I was a Karate Kid fan. My kid's a Cobra Kai fan. And, the main character in Cobra Kai is like his diehard, like his little idol, and that guy is always messaging me, liking my posts.
No way.
When I show the kid that, he's, his mind's blown. So,
Dad's walking down the hallway in his ginch like Conor McGregor, eh? Like, hey, this is what I'm done with, buddy.
Like that stuff's cool, but what's sad about what you said is where it's going is like, I don't know, like I don't want to lose. Honestly, I don't make any money doing this. I love influencing, not influencing people, but like giving them back what I'm sharing and meeting them. But as it grows, I think I'll slowly like lose that disconnect where I'll have less and less time, and how much time I've sunk into this with like mentally, like that's a lot of time I'll never get back from my real life,
Yeah.
And not in a bad way. It's just like, wow, like 2 years is like gone like that. 4 or 5 hours a day, add that up, that's a couple months.
Yeah.
When I think about, this is only second podcast I've ever done, but when I was talking to Tom and those guys, I had all these plans to travel, and then when I started realizing it, I get all these really cool invites and these opportunities, and I'm like, whoa, that's so cool. I'm going to do that. And then I'm like, wait a second, I got to take a week off of work. It's going to cost me $5,000 to go to this event. And I've got 60 of these this year. I can't do this,
Right.
So like, it's a bummer when, Jen at Foxtoberfest, I've got super lucky through TimeFox again. Jen loved my car, hit me up, find out what I do. And now for the last 2 years, I've done all the artwork for Foxtoberfest and
Cool.
chocolate box and all that stuff. So like all the shirts, stickers and stuff.
Yeah.
So like, that's pretty cool, but it's like, hey, you coming to my show? And I'm like, man, I just need a week off of work and an extra $5,000. I'll drive 30 hours that way,
Yeah.
So that is kind of bumming me out lately, where like I just don't have the time or the resources to want to burn that kind of cash to be gone on the road to meet new people and show the car,
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you sharing that with us, buddy, because I think it gives people a sense of like the real person behind it all, right? And I mean, you've brought it up a few times on this conversation, like you're a dad, you're a husband, like you probably like to sleep every once in a while too, right? Or maybe just turn on the fucking TV. Like,
Right.
Like it's a lot for sure. And when again, it goes back to that, just the front page that everybody sees, which is say the TimeFox Instagram page, right? And it's like, oh yeah, like 30-second video, that doesn't take much of your life, right? But then you hear all the backstory and all the bullshit and the 3 a.m. in the shop stories and everything else, right? And it's like, whew, like if you start doing the math, and I'm not real good at math, but I'm adding up way more than 24 hours in one day that this guy just spent bolting this story together,
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's infinite, man. And I'm crazy thankful, but yeah, it does beat on me a little bit when, Foxtoberfest is right around the corner and I'm just helping her get stuff finished on my end for what I did for her. And I'm like, man, should I load the truck and trailer? How can I expense this? Where am I going to stay? Mustang Week was the same thing. And it's just like every, like, I don't know if it's because where I live, everything's cool is on the East Coast.
Right.
But yeah, I just can't make all that stuff. I did the drifting in Colorado, and again, that was a 2-week trip back and forth. It ended up being 60 hours of driving. And it's crazy, like I want to do all these cool things, but I don't want to also look like a bad guy. Like, well, that guy's never going to show up.
Right.
I've only had one company offer to pay for transport out of the blue, and that was pretty cool.
Right.
I would never ask that of someone. Like, yeah, I'll come if you pay for it. Like, no
Right.
way. No way.
Oh, dude, I know I'm this for any of the people that have told me these stories. Don't worry, your secret's safe with me. But I've heard many stories of people that have, leaned in that realm of things where it's like, yeah, sure, I'll come, but like, here's my price, like your price, right? Or I want this and that. Like it's kind of what you hear from movie stars. Like, sure, I'll make an appearance, but I need this type of carpet and I need this type of water, and I like, yeah.
You know what though, and I have to say that there also needs to be a reasonable expectation from the event planners. And I'll throw Mustang Week under the bus when they called me and said, oh yeah, we want influencers to come. Meanwhile, yeah, you need to pay $2,500 for a vendor booth. And it's like, dude, I'm an influencer. I sell t-shirts and hats that, to your point, Regan, right? Like making, a buck or two here or there. And it's like, am I going to sell 2,500 shirts? Like, you guys need to get your shit together, not to mention the travel time and the whatever. And it's not that I was asking for logistics, but just basics of like, you want to charge me and treat me as a vendor, as an influencer, where I'm going to, you know what I mean? You want me to bring you people there, but you know what I mean? It's like some of these people need to, I think when it comes to influencers, have a better understanding of what that value looks like, because at the end of the day, it should be coming out of their marketing budget. Right. And we all know how much people and companies waste on marketing and whatever else. And especially if there's an opportunity to have some sort of tracking or the ability to actually see what's going on. Like, I think that's where the true value of influencers are. So I had to throw that out there because it goes both ways. And I feel like as an influencer group, that is different than just saying, oh, hey, you're a famous person, or you got this, or you got that. Because there's lots of people that have cars. They'll send the cars and the owners aren't with the cars.
Right.
So it's like, how is the car important or is the owner important? It's sort of like, well, Good Guys is on this weekend, right? Guarantee. I don't think Jeff Johnson's going to be driving his car around the road course or driving the quarter mile.
Right.
The car is important,
Right. Yeah. No, that makes total sense. Like 100%. It just starts making no sense. But and that's another thing. You guys probably experience this too. That is sad to me. Is I work. Man, I don't even want to say it in a bad way, so hopefully no one takes it. But since I work in this realm, I do this. Like, I can spot someone that wants to use me from like 10 miles away. So I can sense that from a whole different level, where I understand, like, oh, I'll take photos of your car for free. And I'm a photographer. Like, I'm like, okay, no, you want me for your engagement. I want you to travel to this event, but no, you won't. You know how it is. And that has been infinite with stuff in my inbox. Infinite. Like, hey, I'll give you this. I'll send you this. Like, do you want a detailing spray? Like, it's coming to your house. What's your address? Like, it's wildly infinite. And I just don't want, like, no thanks. I really appreciate that. I know that would help you, but I'm not out here trying to make money to push product on people. So if I took your product, I have to push that on someone else to get your return. You just need me, and I don't need you, because I'm not trying to make money off of the thing,
Right.
Not like I don't need you because I'm better than you. It's like, no, like, it would probably hurt me if I just tried to pump detail spray on the page.
Yeah.
Right. Same thing with shows. Like, I really want to be there. I really want to meet. Like, it'd be really cool to see people and hit all the good shows. But man, it's expensive. I need to win the lottery or something.
Yeah. Well, bud, you've created a celebrity with that car for sure.
You know what's cool? Man, I keep saying that, I'm pretty sure, but I've been to some shows and people, it's not like crazy, like it's clever, but like, let's say 3 to 5 people will show up, and be like, oh, I drove this far to see this car. And I'm like, yeah, right. And they're like, no chance.
Yeah.
Like, I'll show you. And I'm like, no kidding. Like, that's cool. You know, it's the car. It's not me. Like, I have like a wife, and she'll be like, I came here for this car, or the husband. I'm like, yeah, it's just the car though. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, no, I'm hiding my face, man. Like, I love it too. Like, there it is. I've had it, you know.
That's wild, buddy.
So it is a car thing. It's not a me thing, you know. I never share cross-platform. That's the coolest part about this thing. Is kind of like a game too. I never tell people who I am so that they don't know me, right? So I have this super big client. It's a big client that's on social media. They're pretty well known, and I do work for them. And man, it was a while into this venture, maybe 10 months, and I noticed at one point she, like, one of the ladies that's a husband and wife, she posted on a TimeFox thing, and my wife replied to it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's funny because that's my client. I'm playing this game where they don't know it's me, right?
Oh,
and,
shit.
Yeah, so I do that all the time, and they're engaging, and I'm laughing. And so what I do is one day I'm like, hey, like, man, that car, that TimeFox thing, she's like, yeah, I need to link up with that guy. We're going to do some content together. That'd be so rad. I'm like, all right, here it is. I grab out my phone and I open the garage and I take a picture. I'm like, you want me to ask him? And she's like, oh, what do you know him? I'm like, it's me.
Dude, that's unreal.
Yeah, and you're talking like this is someone I work with like all the time, you know, and they never know that it was me. They just think it's some guy, you know. Like,
right.
I don't cross.
Hilarious.
I don't say here's my personal and here's my business. So like, yeah, when I show up to an event, like people be like the TimeFox guy here, not like the art guy they know me from, you know.
Right.
That was fun.
Yeah,
Okay.
the man of mystery. That's wild, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty fun. And that goes back to the thing that I don't want to leave if he ever listens to it is Lou. Is I love that guy. Like I love we're like the same person, you know. But and I really wanted to be friends with him, and I still do. But again, fanboy, like I want to be his friend because we're like the same dude. We have the same career. We have the same clients. But I think at some point he got bummed that I started doing stuff for some clients that he had worked with in the past. You know. In the Fox game, because in theory he owned the artwork within the Mustang community.
Gotcha.
And then it just happens that TimeFox linked Mustang people to me, and then they find out what I do, and it's
shit.
That's sad.
Yeah, that's not good. Shit.
Yeah, and I reach out to him, all the time, like, hey bud, like we have the same car, we both drive an Explorer ST. It's like same color, like let's chat. Like we have the same clients, and I think he's just bummed.
Oh,
he's still
too bad. You'd think there'd be some synergies, though. I mean, that'd be kind of like Chris and I hating each other. You know what I mean? That's a heavy word. I shouldn't, because I don't know the story, and I shouldn't put words in anyone's mouth here. But like, it'd be like us being pissed off at each other, right? Like, you did a fucking power window video. I did a power window video. Like,
right.
Dude, tell me about your power window disaster, because I'm going to tell you about mine, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. Hope he reaches out and we get a talk, because he ventured. He was always on one end of the motorsports, and then I was always on the other. And now after this crossing, he's ventured into my lane, and I'm not even mad about it. I'm super pumped for him. Like he's landed clients that I couldn't over the last 10 years. So
right.
I'm pumped for him. So I hope he hears this and he's like, maybe he's not such a butthole. Like maybe I'll reach back out.
Oh shit. Yeah, I guess when it boils down to feeding families and everything else, right? Like that's a whole nother animal, where Chris and I say all the time, like, shit, if we were living off of YouTube money, we'd be a hell of a lot skinnier. Right? And But yeah, I guess when it's your whole life, like that's literally what keeps the lights on and pays the mortgage and everything else. But even still, like, I know any time that you can find like synergistic ways to work together, like, it's always more powerful for both parties, right?
Oh, for sure.
Like, yeah. I mean, and just kicking ideas back and forth. I know, like, there's an old school adage of, like, hold your cards close to your chest, don't share any of your secrets, all that bullshit. That is like the worst advice you could give anyone.
Right.
Like, for example, the more how to fix this on your car that I do, the more questions I even get. And I'm like, man, like, didn't you see what I said in that video? Like, I literally gave you the process. And no, but there's more questions, right? So it's that old, like, I mean, hell, I think it's written in the biblical text, like, the more you give, the more you get, So I don't know. It's like, I don't know if you're fighting over the same group of clients. I don't know how that world works, right? But it's no fun being, like the coyote and the sheepdog from the old Looney Tunes cartoons, right? You don't want to fight all day and be friends after work. It's like, let's be friends all the time, right? Let's help each other out.
Yeah, I'm about that. So hopefully he hears this, because I think he's a little bit younger than me, because I think as soon as you get older, like, all that stuff goes out the window,
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. Like, me and my buddy talk about this, where we still feel young, but we're older now, and like, we're like, man, I don't care about that stuff.
Yeah.
That's why I love oh, your parent. I love when I get the cool comments like, must be nice, or that's cool. Your hair in the background. I'm like, man, I'm old. Like, I'm sorry, I'm old. I'm not 20 like you might think that I'm 20.
Totally.
I'm old.
Yeah.
So don't try.
Oh, that's cool, buddy. Well, listen, pal, I don't want to keep you any longer. I think I told you that about an hour ago, but you're so easy to chat with. And, like, I've found this so informative, touching. It's left me thinking about a pile of stuff. I'm still loving that story about, like, the kid leaning on the fence, and then the chasing the 1320, and then the TimeFox, which was just mucking it out. And here it is. Like, dude, this has been a really fun chat.
Yeah.
Can I before I like have an overlap, so I cut you off. Can I tell you, like, something I love talking to? I'm sorry. Can I tell you one funny story about, you said 1320 and that chasing that fame, and when it went out the window, when you said you're doing what? Let me tell you this, okay? So, I had nothing bad against 1320 and Kyle and all the guys that do that. I love those guys. I mean that. So all this time, I told you I had crossed paths with those guys, right? Like, I'm talking, like, not cross paths with them, but, like, I got lucky to be at the right place at the right time, where I was, like, one of the 10 cars at Texas 2K on the closed down highway that's going balls out at $180, Like, I was part of the group. I never made the videos. Then another event within the year, they were there. They rode in my car. They filmed it, and I beat their friend. So they didn't air that part, So, like, I always was, like, there, and I was like, man, I just need them to tell the world who I am, what I've done, right? Whatever. So years later, so I'm in drifting, and I've been in drifting for a long time. I have a Corvette, wide body. I'm at a big event, and randomly, it was a motorsports festival, I think, or something like that. Me and my best friend are parked, and someone's yelling in the pits, and they're like, hey, 1320 video is on their way here. Like, okay, big deal. They're on their way to something. So 1320 shows up like half an hour later, and it's full crew. They've got, all their guys, 50 guys, whatever. They're going crazy, and everyone's losing their mind, right? Because they're here. And why it was cool is because 1320 at that point had never done anything drift related. It was always those old school street races and stuff, back in the early days. So this actually wasn't that long ago. This was COVID-ish, early COVID, I bet. So anyway, they get out, and Kyle was the owner of 1320, if you've ever watched their stuff.
Yeah.
So I've been with Kyle. I've known him, right? And hopefully he watches this so he can remember this. So he goes around the thing, and I see them walking towards my truck and trailer, and he goes, never filmed to this day. We've never done any content on a drift car. I've never ridden in a drift car. I want that Corvette to be my first one. And he tells me, and I like have this like come to Jesus like thought, like, wow, I grew up. And I had my keys in my pocket. I reached in, grabbed them, looked at my best friend that was next to me that had never driven my car, my full built drift car, right? Full.
Yeah. And
I throw the keys at him and I say, take that guy for a ride. No kidding. My friend's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, dude, go have fun. I walk back in my trailer. My friend starts my car. They get the film crew. They go live. Within like one lap, they're at 750,000 live followers, right? My phone, it's going ding. And I look down, and it's people from all over that I know. They're like, dude, 1320, they're in your car, but that's not you. And it happened. And I never even got sad about it. I'm just like, oh, the ship sailed, man. I was this close. I'm out.
Unreal, buddy.
Hopefully that completes the story, of like, you're going to chase it. You're never going to find it. And when you stop chasing it, it's going to find you.
Dude, that is like an absolute home run hit way of wrapping this thing. Because we've been circling that horse all night, right, with this story, which I think is so cool. For anybody out there that's got any kind of dream or aspiration, I mean, hell, if it's to, I don't know, get in shape or whatever, right? It's like, it's really weird to understand this, but like the minute you stop chasing it and you just start like putting one foot in front of the other, it'll find you, right? And what a great way. That's such a great story to sum that all up.
Yeah, I don't know why I was feeling that, like, man, there's something I had to tell you about, like, mumbling for that whole time. But it is that, like, man, just stop chasing it and move, and maybe you won't end up rich or famous or got money or not or finish the project, but like just let it happen. It's gonna happen,
Yeah. I'm probably gonna screw this up, and I'm sure it would sound way more eloquent if an Irish person said it, but I know it's an old Irish saying, and it's like, if it's meant for you, it won't go by you. And it's true. It's or other people have said it, like, give it away. If it comes back, it's yours or whatever. Right. And don't like get ultra focused on the fact that whatever, it went by you. Like, consider it a blessing, right? It's like all the stop signs and all the traffic jams led you right to where you need to be, like, just be grateful for the ride and keep putting one foot in front of the other. Yeah,
man. It's that butterfly effect. One little thing could have changed. One little thing, and you wouldn't be right where you are, and that's it. And maybe if you try to hit that goal and you're forcing it, like, how much you're gonna miss, because now you got a 40-year-old guy like talking about like, oh, the 90s and all this, and people are starting to forget what that was like. And I'm stuck there, because I missed it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool, buddy. Yeah. What a home run. Again, Val, thank you so much for doing this. I was really excited to have this conversation with you. And we tried to do it last night, right? And you were tangled up. And I'm like, shit, I hope this doesn't turn into one of those deals that we're chasing each other week after week. So thanks so much for doing this.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And man, if I can do anything for you guys, like as far as sharing, promoting, like, I'd love it. Like, I've been a huge fan of you guys for a long time. So like, again, little kid moment, Chris, like I said, you crushed my soul, but you redeemed yourself, man. Thank you. I've watched so much of your videos on, everything from your air ride to tips and tricks. And like, I've also been a huge fan. So this means a lot to me too. It's not just one-sided. Like I mean, tons that I got to meet you guys.
Oh, I appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you so much
for doing it in person.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good. After I win the lottery, I'm gonna come to shows by you guys.
Deal. Okay, bud. Well, yeah, thanks again. And yeah, we look forward to seeing more of TimeFox.
All right, guys. Reach out anytime, and I can shoot out my number, and we can chat soon. Okay.
Deal.
Sounds good.
Okay, thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Regan.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Later, bud.
See you guys.